We are live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. And I need to turn my phone off. But what's going on, good people? What's going on, good people? Shout out to each and every one of you in the building. Do appreciate you. Do appreciate you. Let me get my phone. Get my phone silenced. Let me get my phone silenced for the show. Let me get my show. Shout out to everybody in the building. You already know the deal. You know the routine. Make sure you hit the like button as we're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. Make sure you hit the like button. You already know the deal. You already know what it is. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to everybody who's already made it in bright and early. We're going to be covering Jason Whitlock. Talking about the Passport Bros and really the connection between the Passport Bros and actually the previous controversy that he got into when he, as they said, blamed single mothers for what happened in Memphis with the whole Tyree Nichols situation. He got under some heat for that, but he's taking an angle and an approach talking about Passport Bros. He is very well tuned in to the manosphere and what's going on here. He even said something where he sort of alluded to himself as lightweight, kind of a part of it. In my opinion, he kind of did that. So, so we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be breaking a number of things down. We're going to be taking this from a number. Excuse me. I'm going to be breaking this thing down from a number of different angles. So strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What's up, everybody? What is going on? Shout out to everybody in the building. Do appreciate each and every one of you. As I said in the pre-intro ramble, make sure you hit the like button. Helps with the algo, lets people know that you are here. I would like to give a special shout out to those that make it in bright and early. Shout out to each and every one of you. Shout out to Hood Conservative, who says single motherhood is a far better explanation than white supremacy. I agree. That's an ongoing thing that gets talked about in this space. I think black culture is more at fault at this point in the game than white supremacy. But that's just me. Obviously, that's just you. We're in agreement on that one. I get slightly annoyed by some people putting an overemphasis on the white supremacy, but it is what it is. They're entitled to analyze things where they analyze it. Shout out to RM, who says, on the way in, hit the like button. Absolutely. Shout out to BL don't okay, I don't know what that says. I don't know what that says. But he says, I'm here to name the ew because nobody else will. Okay, still don't know what you're talking about. Still don't know what you're talking about. Snazzy individual in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to Snazzy individual. Says salute Bernard. Winthrop in the building with the puff of smoke. The puffs of look like some clouds, smoke puffs, whatever the hell. Shout out to Jackie Jack in the building. Says let's go. Shout out to Demac the trucker in the building. Says damn, TMZ is going to talk about Passport Bros next. Everyone is talking about them. Yeah, that did kind of blow up, much like how the manosphere was like the big thing that was talked about. It's like it has, trickled over to Passport Bros. Passport Bros in the last few months has pretty much taken off, and everybody is covering it everywhere at all angles. I think that's a good thing. I genuinely think that's a good thing. I like a highlight being put on any of the things that we talk about in this space. Shout out to Jarrell Johnson. Says, damn, Passport Bros has exploded and very fast too. Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out a couple more people as we come in here. American Negro. American Negro. D'Souza. Mr. GQ Smooth. See some of y'all in here. Sun is Hot Ra in the building. Jason, Sun is Hot Ra in the building. Sorry, I'm fumbling over some things. Get still dotting some I's and crossing some T's. But shout out to Sun is Hot Ra, this last one. I'll shout out before I get things going. He says, oh, by the way, Jason Whitlock, okay. He said he just popped up in Old Man's chat room to show love and appreciation. So we are being listened to. Absolutely. It is yet also my understanding that he's gonna be on Angerman's show later today. That is also my understanding. He's gonna be on Angerman's show later today. I mean, he referenced the Battlesphere so much, so he should. ain't no wrong with him swinging by the chat rooms, formally letting people know that he exists. I mean, formally letting people know that he knows that we exist, because he references channels in this space all the time. So that's cool. That's cool. That's what's up. All right. Where was I? Where do we start here? Okay, is one thing that I do want to start with. That's not Jason Whitlock related. This is something I saw that was funny. That was not Jason Whitlock related. I'm going to get right into the topic of Jason Whitlock and the Passport Bros. He did say a lot of interesting things. There's a lot of implications, a lot of really good implications to him popping up and coming on through. But one thing that I do have to do, that I'm going to make a habit of forgetting to do, and that's formally sending the email out to RM. Let me do that now. All right, now that that's done, let me dot one more I and cross one more T. I got something real funny I got to show ya. Something real funny I got to show y'all. So give me 1 second as I pull that together. Give me 1 second as I pull that together. Okay, I'll set it up like this. I'm waiting for something to load. I'll set it up like this. Normally, when chicks do things where they're sort of like mocking the manosphere, not necessarily manosphere, because it's a lot of male content creators who wouldn't even associate themselves with the manosphere at all, but they do content. They do similar content, and it's a lot of people, a lot of chicks that got a lot to say about them and all that they do. And every now and then, every blue moon, they may make something that's actually funny. Every blue moon, they may make something that's actually funny, that I actually got to stop and entertain. And that actually happened. So I got to show you this because it's freaking funny.
Welcome back. Another episode of the Holds Not Human podcast. Today we got a special guest that is a female. We found a female to come on the show.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome. Sorry you ain't got a mic. We only had two. But anyway.
All right, these chicks use some kind of filter to get us have a beard and a bald head or whatever. It's the funny part of it is that when she said, "Welcome to the Holds Not Human podcast." I listened to that and I was like, whoa, she's on to something. I was like, let me run this by Hood Conservative and a few people on the more extreme side to see how they feel about that name, the Holds Not Human podcast. I'll never do a show like that. But that's funny as hell.
Yo, welcome back. Another episode of the Holds Not Human podcast. Today we got a special guest that is a female. We found a female to come on the show.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome. Sorry you ain't got a mic. We only had two. But anyway, so women literally serve no purpose ever in the entire universe. Like, God just needed us to have somebody to have dominion over. Literally, God came to me in a dream and told me this. So we could even have babies without women. We don't need women. Bars. You can put some semen in aluminum foil and put it in the air fryer for 47 minutes and you gonna have a baby. That's really how babies are made. We really don't need all that 9-month stuff. Like, we don't need women, right? Bro. I gotta take my glasses off on that one.
As a female, like, I hold my man down. Like, if you doing a bid, I'll do the bid for
you. That's the pick me right there. This is actually funny. Particularly, they started out so good with the name, the Holds Not Human podcast. It kind of fell off a little bit after that, but the Holds Not Human podcast just tickled the shit out of me.
For you. If you get shot, I'll get shot for you. Like, I would do whatever for my man because, like, that's my man.
She a real one.
What does he do in return? Nothing. He's a man. Like, all he gotta do is be my man.
They not gonna like this one. Women are not human beings. They just there for decoration.
Quite Dietrich, stop. You are so, oh my God, brother. I agree, and I'm a female. So, I'm a female and I agree. So
y'all not trying to hear me though. Y'all not trying to, because when I say stuff, y'all don't want to hear me.
Every now and then something funny comes out of the sisterhood. I gotta give props and credit when it's due. gotta give props and credit when it's due. That was actually a good one. I got to give props and credit when it's due. That was fucking funny. The Holds Not Human podcast. I was cracking up like that. That came across when I was doing a little, research and reconnaissance for the show today. When I was getting ready for the show today, that came across my feed, and I had to. I was like, I got to just share this with y'all. I was like, I legit got to share this one with y'all because like that was just too damn funny. But all right, we about to get into the main topic. Like I said, Jason Whitlock. One thing that he did, I remember when Kevin Samuels died. Jason Whitlock, I think he did like 2 shows on it. Like he gave him a lot of flowers. Jason Whitlock is somebody who, before the manosphere was popular, I would say that he was fighting the fight against this. He was one of the few black men that was staunch down fighting the fight against the whole modern womanist programming and trying to put things back in order. He does go hard on the Christian end of it, where I got my disagreements with going that hard on that end of it. But either way it go, he's one of the ones who's been fighting that fight. So I think he sees the manosphere of men doing this content like that as an overall general good thing that's stirring the pot of the culture. It's something that he's kind of been an OG at doing it, but they hate him because he says some things that comes off as over the top. But he puts it in that right, that piercing way to where it's like you have to look at it, you have to address it, and he's been doing it on a more mainstream platform, on a more mainstream side of things, and so now the manosphere came up through, like, basically grassroots. It came up, and then now he's there sitting up high as somebody who's more on the mainstream side of it, and grassroots movement of the manosphere sort of got up to his level. So it's kind of perfect and fitting that the two are more or less merging. Like I said earlier, he's, as far as I know, basically, well, hell, the words came directly out of Angry Man's mouth that Jason Whitlock is going to be on his show. So there's that. So and that's huge. But let's go ahead and let's get ready to go. Let's dig on into this. Let's look at this breakdown. Let me move that. We don't need that. And fair use. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. Hold up, I got no sound.
In 1999, the half black, half Jewish rock Passport. Lenny Kravitz, watching on your laptop, on your cozier sheets. I'm going to start a fire and warm you up. Lenny Kravitz is the original Passport Bro. In 1999, the half black, half...
Shame on you, Passport Bros, for not capitalizing on this point. Shame on you, Passport Bros, for not capitalizing on this point. He actually makes a real good point right here with this one.
Jewish rock star covered the 1970 Canadian classic American Woman, originally performed by the Guess Who. Kravitz won a Grammy for his version of the anti-American ode. American Woman, Stay Away From Me, American Woman, Mama Let Me Be, Don't Come Hanging Around My Door, I Don't Want to See Your Face No More, I Got More Important Things to Do Than Spend My Time Growing Old With You. You've heard the song. Everybody has heard it.
How many times have you heard those lyrics? And never made a connection? How many times have you heard those lyrics and never made a connection? But you go to explain it, give more detailed evidence to where, to some degree, Lenny Kravitz, he was on some Passport Bro stuff. You got to lay out the whole dating experience of Lenny Kravitz that sort of tells the origin story of that song.
Not long after divorcing American actress Lisa Bonet, a star of The Cosby Show at the time, Kravitz dated a series of white foreign starlets: French singer and model Vanessa Paradis, Brazilian model Adriana Lima, and finally Australian actress Nicole Kidman. Now, woman, stay away. American Woman, listen what I say. American Woman, get away from me. American Woman, Mama Let Me Be. That was Kravitz's philosophy after dating Lisa Bonet. I bring all this up because things have turned so icy between Black American men and women that there's now a popular movement called Passport Bros, an outgrowth of the Black Manosphere, the collective of YouTube content creators who discuss issues around American culture's demonization of masculinity.
Shout out to Jason Whitlock's uncanny ability to accurately describe things. Most people, even people who are more, along the lines of agreeing, they tend to still not get it quite right when they try to describe it. He described it perfectly. So I gotta give him kudos and props for that.
Passport Bros are primarily Black men who leave America shopping for wives and girlfriends in Brazil, Colombia, Thailand, Costa Rica, the Philippines, and anywhere outside of America. They're men who believe American women, particularly Black women, have the wrong values, expectations, worldview, and attitude for a serious relationship. Passport Bros chronicle their search for love and or sex on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Again, I love that he gets it right. That they chronicle their search for love and or sex. He didn't leave that out. I thought he was. I thought he was going to leave out the traveling for pussy element, which I don't think Passport Bros should run to. Because I get on the plane and I go to Vegas, the chances are, I'm going there. I'm going to be looking for some action. I'm not going to see the Blue Man Group or Celine Dion or Elton John or whoever the hell singing. That's nice. Yeah, okay. If I did happen to catch a few shows, okay, cool, great. But if you're going for some adult good times. Like it is what it is. It is what it is. They don't need to run away from that. There's plenty of elements to it. Some of them are going there, going overseas. Some of them, yeah, they are looking to, find a wife. Some of them are looking just for some good times. As I said before, a man going on vacation, being out on a beach, sipping some tequila out of a coconut around around some I don't know how to describe how the women look over there, but some racially ambiguous women that barely speak English. That sounds like a good time. That even sounds like a good time for the women that do it and been doing it longer than black men have been doing it. They go out there, they sit on their beach, they sip their tequila through a coconut around some Rico Suave looking dudes that talk with an accent with some good hair that they can put in the water and then wave around and like come on. Like all that's been a normal, fairly regular good time for adults for a long time. It's only became an issue because because black men are doing it now. Even though there was how Stella got her groove back movie and all of that stuff like that, it was no online social media movement of women doing that with the Passport Bros. They did it with the whole niggas ain't shit, black men are trash, they're either gay, dead, or in jail. They did that. That was in the music, the movies, the TV shows, and all of that. That was all over the place. And there was a major media arm behind it when they did that. However, when black men are in many ways doing the same thing, black men are doing it not with a major media machine behind it, but just with their own media behind it. And because their own because the media of black men, the independent media of black men is what's behind it, that makes it harder to control. That makes it harder to control and harder to shut down. In fact, it makes it impossible to shut down unless they really, I mean, they would have to get real gangster on some censorship stuff and just start shutting down any channel that mentions anything of passporting or any channel that mentions anything about women or black women or women overseas. They would have to go that gangster to shut it down. So now it's a situation to where the same thing that was done previously is being done just in a different way through a different medium, and now people are losing their mind. That's more or less what's happening.
They're reviled and ridiculed on most.
And Luke Hazley in the building with the $5 super chat. I do greatly appreciate that. Thank you for coming on through with the super chat. Appreciate any and everyone who supports the stream. But remember, as RM is saying right there, the likes are definitely free. The likes are definitely free. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the like button. All of that is greatly appreciated. Let's go.
Social media platforms, but the movement is growing because the untreated disconnect between American black men and women is growing wider and wider. Black women see their role as leaders of the black community and the primary breadwinners. The Democrat Party, leftists, corporate media, and the LGBTQ movement have partnered with black women in imposing matriarchal culture. Newton's third law applies in media. Black women see their role as leaders of the black community and the primary breadwinners. The Democrat Party, leftists, corporate media, and the LGBTQ movement have partnered with black women in imposing matriarchal culture. Newton's third law applies. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
He basically just explained in short words what I more or less was saying, that Passport Bros is an equal and opposite reaction to everything else that's going on. But we underestimate the cultural break down on a macro scale. We do underestimate that. Some people try to pinpoint it on, you can't find a woman over here, or you can't get a woman over here. You have to go overseas. Why do you have to go? Oh, why do you have to go overseas? We talked about that on the show when I had the live in studio show. More of those are coming. More of those are coming. Be patient. But when I had the live in studio show where I had in studio guests, Mike from Mike and Vince Perkins was in here, and he said the whole concept of why do you have to go overseas to get a woman? He says, no, I get to go overseas to get a woman because I have the resources to do so. It's not something you have to do. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. But I love the breakdown of saying that one is an equal and opposite reaction. A lot of people miss that point when it comes to the Black manosphere. They make it seem like everything was just peaceful, and all of a sudden a bunch of men just came online and just kicked down the door and start flipping over the tables. But the argument or the position that I think most Black men in this space ultimately have is that the table was already flipped over on the floor. The table was already flipped over on the floor. We didn't come through and just kick down the door and start flipping over the tables. That people forget that a lot of what's going on with this kind of content is a counterpunch. It's a counterpunch to what was already going on. It's a counterpunch to the status quo. It's a counterpunch to the status quo. A lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget that. They want to try to make it seem like like you guys are just stirring things up. No, that's not exactly how it is. That's not exactly how it is.
With no institution, matriarchal culture, Newton's third law applies. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. With no institution or individual addressing the major rift between Black men and women, the men are abandoning American women, searching for women in other countries who are not hostile toward traditional relationship roles. The yearning for traditional women and pushback against matriarchal culture explain the meteoric rise of social media influencers such as Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate. Samuels died unexpectedly last year. He had built a huge following discussing Black women's unreasonable relationship expectations. Tate postures as
Hey, Freedman's Journal. I like that. I say that that statement all the time. When you put it, you put it in emoji. I say stirring the pot of the culture. I see what you did there with the emoji. Stir the pot. I be having a lot of things that I say that I don't take the time and try to, say it enough to where it gets, cemented and branded into people's mind. I got to start doing a better job at that, because that's something I didn't even realize I say it that much. But yeah, but good good call with the emojis. Good call with the emojis.
As a hyper-masculine Renaissance man of the world. The Romanian government is investigating him for operating a sex trafficking ring. Tate says the investigation is fraudulent and an attempt to silence a loud voice that fights against the emasculation of men. Tate, who is mixed race, advises men to date and marry Muslim women. Take a listen for yourself.
Yeah. And the only people left in America who are resisting liberal indoctrination are the Muslims, and there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And this is why my view, once again, my conservative views are all skewed up, because I'm almost on the team of the Muslims now.
Jesus.
But then the only people you have left who don't want transgenders in schools. Yeah. The only people you have left who don't want to tell kids that being gay is better than being heterosexual. They're
very proudly.
Let's stop and think about that. If we're going to get to a point real soon to where the only people who are talking about masculinity and male female social dynamics and anything that resembles a traditional way or any way that benefits men, we'll get into a place where the only people that are going to truly be doing it are the extremists. Like, it's messed up when we get to that place. Like, I did a stream a while back. I actually had some pastors on here, and I was actually saying, somewhat controversially saying that, I'm not the first one that said it, that the Christian church, if they really about their life, and they're really about them Christian principles, and they're really about families, and particularly the Black church, if they're really about Black families, they would be trying to essentially do arranged marriages. Basically, You got to, if the church was offering well indoctrinated virgins at the age of 18, they would be able to pack that church full of men. Well indoctrinated virgins to marry at the age of 18 to properly vetted men who have accomplished something and have the resources to take care of those girls. If the black church was on that shit, they'd be able to pack that church full of men, successful, competent men looking for wives. If any place is going to be the breeding ground where the type of women that any type of Christian, conservative, traditional man would want, it should be the damn church. But we're getting to a place to where people have to look to the extremist overseas to find the traditional women, because as we know, the clock is kind of ticking on I don't think Brazil will fall. But we saw with the Austin Holloman thing that the clock could be ticking on Brazil actually producing what people say that they want. The clock could be ticking on that one as well. It's going to be Muslim countries. It's going to be the extremists are the only ones that are doing it. To where at that point the game is pretty much done. And it does turn into a situation where it's, hey, get in where you fit in and just live your life, be individualistic and have your fun and have your sex and just try not to knock nobody up and get caught in the system. It will legitimately turn into that. That's damn near the MGTOW argument. It will legitimately start flowing in that direction. It will legitimately start going that way. I think the Christian church who obviously sold out to baby mama culture, and what I mean by that is a single mother can just, I understand their gripe. Stay with me here. Understand their problem is that they're the Christian church. You don't turn nobody away. Open your doors for all. Come on, come as you are. All right. You don't want to turn nobody away. You don't want to preach a traditional fire and brimstone message, because then you're going to start losing people. So it's like you kind of just got to pander to baby mamaism. And I'm not just talking about just a single baby mama walking in there. I'm talking about a culture that breeds it at a much higher rate, and a culture that also speaks to it as if there's nothing wrong with it. The church should, if any place is going to be the battleground that fights against that, it seems like it would be the church, or in the case of the black community, the black church. It seems like that would be it. It seems like that would be it, but it's not. So so people have to look to the extremists for the answers.
Jesus. But then the only people you have left who don't want transgenders in schools. Yeah. The only people you have left who don't want to tell kids that being gay is better than being heterosexual.
They're very proudly pro-family.
Yeah, they're the only people they have left who have families and have kids. Yeah. They're the only people, like, you have no one, there's no other allies in the Western Europe besides them. And in the long run, in my view, is super pessimistic. This Muslim's going to win anyway. They're outbreeding, and I think the average English woman has 1.6 kids. The average Muslim woman in England has like 6.8. Like they're just
shit.
Within
average Muslim woman 6.8 kids. That's a lot. That's a lot. I didn't know that. That's a lot. If that's accurate, which I don't necessarily think that's accurate, because that sounds like too high of a number, but that's a lot from an outbreeding standpoint. Goddamn.
30 years, we're outbred anyway. So the fight's over, done. It's done. It's not even close. The population is going to overpass us. So at least they have ideals which don't completely go down the liberal lunacy. Yeah. And it's amazing to me that the left, what's funny is
all right. And to this nonsense in the chat room, let me make sure I blow this up and read this properly. D'Souza says, Tate is right about that, but black men are not providers, so good luck with traditional marriage. If you're talking about the black men who have the means to travel all over the world, those men are in position to provide, and especially if they're in IT and they have a job that could travel anywhere on the globe, and their dollars quadruple, quintuple, septuple when they go over to another country. Yes, they are in position. Like, what are you talking about there? Like, this is something that's not for the average, pookie on the street. It's not really for just the. I mean, it's some regular dudes making. If you're a regular dude with a regular job, you make decent money. Even if you make, let's just say you make $50K a year. That's what the average man make in this country. But you want child support. This ain't for you. I mean, you gotta be, I would say north of $60,000 a year and not have no child support case or no major baggage. That's a relatively high percentage of men, even black men. That's enough to move the needle, enough to piss everybody off, which means it makes no sense to say that black men are not providers. I mean, by that same logic, if you apply it indiscriminately across the board, looking at what the average income is, no man is a provider, because most women would say that $50K a year is not enough to take care of a family. That's what the average white man makes. So no man is a provider by that logic. Clearly, we're talking about the men who are in position to travel abroad and all of that. So that's where you get into some nonsense. That's where you get into some nonsense. Somebody just dropped a 64% stat. 64% of passport holders make 100K minimum. That is an interesting stat. Damn. I didn't know that. I actually never thought about that. I always had my suspicions where I more or less presumed that passport bros, just passports in general, people with passports in general. Let me make sure I get that right. And he said 94% of passport holders make a minimum. Oh no, I got it right. I got to get it back on the screen. Okay, 64% of passport holders make 100K minimum. That is an interesting stat, because it speaks to the type of men. Okay, let me break that down like this. This is why that's interesting for those who are who may be missing the significance of that. I think even if somebody didn't know that stat, they innately know and understand that any man that's traveling abroad is a man of value. He may not, don't mean he necessarily hit every criteria of Kevin Samuels' high value man metric or whatever the hell, but he's a man of value. So when if J-Rock is talking about, hey, I'm through with these black women, it's like, okay, yeah, that's something to fuss about. They'll fuss about that. Okay, cool, whatever. They'll still make some noise about that. But when men with passports are saying they're done and they're exercising their options with the passport, that is a different type of thing, because any woman seeing that, they innately understand that they're losing quality. They could try to say that, oh, y'all are trashy, or y'all dusty, y'all taking y'all same problems over there, or y'all just, y'all running from y'all running from your problems and responsibilities over here. That's why y'all try to. They can say that all they want, but at the end of the day, they know for a fact that it's actually quality men that a lot of them were banking on later in life. These are the men who they were banking on to be available for the bailout, for the stepdaddy bailout plan. These are, if those men are leaving, the system fails. And by the system fails, I mean just the system where it's sort of set up where they could kind of do what they want to do, live their life, be all they could be. If they sink, swim, fail, whatever, if there's no men to bail them out when all is said and done, that aspect of the system fails, because there's a part of the system where, okay, well, there's a government bailout, and that government bailout is also supplemented by the stepdaddy bailout plan. All of those things kind of flow together. All of those things kind of flow together. You remove one of those are major changes in the system. Those are major changes in the system, and they don't want to see that. And I think at their core, even if they don't know the exact numbers, I think innately they have some understanding that that's what's at play here. They have some understanding that that's truly what's at play here. Losing that benefit, losing the benefit of competent, productive men who are in that position to live somewhat of a global lifestyle, even if they were just overseas 1 month out of the year. To be in position to do that, that makes you definitely a cut above average. And if this movement, if the passport movement grows to where men en masse are doing that, that changes the market. That changes the market completely. I remember when I had Jackie here in studio, and she's supportive of Passport Bros, but I asked her as as a Black woman, do you look at it to some degree as the market, the market being different from a macro market standpoint? Do you look at this as yeah, this may overall be a problem? It may be overall be a problem, and it's something that that they're going to be concerned about. They're going to be concerned about. Largely in part, it's the stepdaddy bailout plan that they do got their concerns or their angst when it comes to that. But thank you for that for that good comment. That gave me a lot to think on and a lot to talk about there. But shout out to the other people who have come through and super chatted. Shout out to Luke Hazley in the building, dropped the first super chat on it. Shout out to let me blow that up and let me go right here. Shout out to Woke Quill in the excuse me. He says 304 is complaining about Beyonce ticket prices, but men paying $2,000 on flights can't provide. Fuck out of here. Yeah. And I think that's the fakeness in what they're doing, because they know that these are men. They know that these are men who are in position. They know that these are men who are in position. Shout out to Eric Bird in the building. He says, even Star Report endorse and support Passport Bros. Well, you gotta support it. I don't know how anybody can just not. I look something is weird. So to me, something is weird if you're a Black man and you're against it. Something is weird about that. Something is weird about that if you're a Black man and you're against it. That just is what it is. What we got going on here? Bart. Is that Bert or Bart? I can't even tell. Let me blow it up. My bad. Yeah, I'm trying to work out a system kink here. Bert in the building says Passport Bros need to be upwardly mobile to travel. Absolutely. You can't get around that. Freeman's Journal in the building says they care because they run their mouths. Are you saying talking about the Passport Bros run their mouths? Yeah, well, okay. That's one of the arguments where they pretend, they kind of fake it. They kind of fake it quite a bit and pretend like, oh, well, if the Passport Bros would just shut up, then we wouldn't have a problem with them. It's the fact that they're talking. If you're going to leave, just leave. If you're going to change your dating criteria, then just change them. And then, to that, we must look at all the men who never said not one disparaging word about Black women or Black culture. They just a picture surfaces of them with a non-Black woman, and then all of a sudden they grab the pitchforks, tiki torches, and all of that, and they're ready to ride on them. So it's just so that shows that statement is not true. That it's only because they're running their mouths. That shows that statement is absolutely, positively not true. It shows that statement is not true. All right. Bear with me, fellas. Trying to get something. Let me move that out the way. My man Ryan Decipher just came through hard and heavy-handed with a $100 super chat. Just came through hard and heavy-handed with a $100 super chat. One of my biggest supporters. Make him a banner with a lot of bells and whistles. RM, make a banner, keep it scrolling. Shout out to Ryan Decipher. Gotta drop a bomb. Ryan Decipher says the passport movement as it is not threatening to the modern woman in the West. Interesting on how you get there, because I think it is. I think it is. I think it is. I think men. Well, let me just see what you say before I delve into it. He says the more idea of it is. Oh, I'm sorry. The mere idea of it is men not participating in the marriage/dating market is the most powerful move a man can make. It speaks volume. Let's give them something to talk about. Absolutely, absolutely. I think the two goes hand in hand. When you say the mere, you say okay, you say the mere idea of it is okay. When you're breaking down that idea, the idea of it is bothersome. I get that, but there is an actuality of it. There's an actuality of them being able to quantify that men of a certain status with a certain amount of resources. Granted, a passport only costs $200, but to be able to actively use that passport and actively get out there and actively be traveling, and that's where a good percentage of your dating market is coming from. That's more than likely where you will find a wife. That's more than likely where you will settle down. That part hurts them. That does. Now I do have my sneaky suspicions that a lot of the passport bros, while here congregating in the States, because even if they could be overseas for they probably got to do a show on this. Even if they could be overseas for, let's just say, 2 months out the year, those other 10 months they're not going monk mode. So it is a situation where it's like a lot of them probably still smashing American women. Actually, Andrew Tate going to say something about this. One of his guys that's going to marry a Muslim chick. He was like, "Hey, look at this club. I fuck a lot of these women in this club, but there's no wives here." So yeah, that bothers them. That they're just passport bros essentially telling them that, or let's just say men with passports in general, because I mean the same movement exists with other men too. We just put bro at the end of it, but it's basically telling Western women, okay, y'all want your feminism, you want to be strong and independent, you want an egalitarian society. Okay, great, cool. You're just going to be batting practice. that's essentially what, as harsh as that is, that's essentially what they're saying. When I'm ready to settle down, I want to find a wife over there, but we can hook up over here. So it's basically like the modern Western American woman would just end up just being batting practice, and the men will go to other cultures to find their wives. Like that's a brute reality. That's a brute reality. Randall says it's not worth the risk. I know I'm operating on a theory, thinking that the passport bros be still smashing and dashing and getting it in, all that over here. I'm operating on a theory. But Randall says he's done. You Dunsky. It's over, son. Okay. All right. I think a good percentage of them is still doing the damn thing over here. But shout out to Ryan Decipher in the building. I'll actually read one more of your comments. You sent such a sizable super chat. Let me go ahead and read this real quick before I play some more of the beautiful being footage. Ryan Decipher says, "What I meant with the first beginning statement is that a passport travel is still a niche market. It is. They don't want it to blow up though, and that's part of why they're trying to cut the movement off at its legs before it really even gets started. I think that's. But I get what you're saying. Only a small sector of men will travel to find wives. Majority are staying on home soil." Understood. It's so I get what you're saying. You're saying it's the idea of it, but I think it's the idea of it. And if it grows, see, I'm looking in the future that if Western culture goes the way that it's going, the men who are traditional, who do want wives, who do want families, a higher percentage of them will find those women elsewhere, and then modern Western egalitarian women will basically just be batting practice. That's what it's going to turn into. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. But let's get back into the tape.
They're cognitive dissidents, the left. They idolize Islam and they idolize all their other bullshit, and they're completely non-compatible. We're talking earlier about frame. Muslims have the best frame on earth. Like I said, this is why I piss a lot of conservatives off, but this is the truth. A lot of the reason the Taliban are fighting Americans, a lot of the reasons they're literally fighting wars they can't win with an AK against a predator drone, is because they're fighting for the right to have their virgin wife in a burqa. It's powerful. They look at Western cultures and look how Western women act, and they think, I don't want that. I don't want my women to be like, there's no wives there.
It's crazy.
I want this. And this is my society, and they're coming along telling me they're going to blow this up and take this away from me. No, I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's what I want. If I have to fucking die to protect it, that's what I'm going to do. And this is literally, that's the level. I had a friend who's I won't say his name. He's you can Google him up. He's a really rich guy, lives in Dubai. And he comes to London to party all the time. And we're in the clubs, whatever. And he looks at me and says, look around. We look around. He goes, there's girls here to there's no wives here.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll your, he says, I'll your Western women, but I'm marrying a Muslim woman.
Yeah.
And so that affirms the point that I made, that it's not strictly a matter of being a black thing with this. It's not strictly a matter of being a black thing with this. This is a guy who I'm assuming is white, who's in London. I'm assuming looking at white women in London saying there's no wives here. You know. So there's that. There's something in men, something still in men. And there's a lot of us that says we need to debug that programming, but I don't think it's going to be debugged. I think that we're sort of evolved to want family and community, and for a percentage of people can walk away and shed themselves of their programming. There's a percentage who are still going to want to do it, and that's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to do it. Sun is hot around the building. I'm going to get back to the tape real quick because this is definitely getting good, but real quick, I got to acknowledge Sun is hot around the building. He says, I hope to God and the ancestors this doesn't happen, but don't be surprised if black women start, oh my goodness, deleting their sons. Okay, no, that's too far. If they start deleting their sons in protest of the Passport Bros movement, I'd rather see my son die than see him abandon his community. You mean you're talking about the dude's gonna be getting gunned down at the airport? They're gonna be at UPS taking their passport picture. No, that's a little extreme. That's a little extreme. A little extreme. That is a bit extreme. Said looking for traditional women in a nightclub instead of church. Really, he didn't say he was looking for them there. He was acknowledging that there was none there. He said he was basically there to get it in and have sex. He said he was at the club to get it in and have sex. There's no wives there. He said he's going to get a wife from some Muslim countries. He said that's where he's going to get a wife from. But, all right, let's get into it. Hold on, let me get rid of that there.
And it's like, this is how they view the world.
America feels like that, man. There's plenty of girls to but it's not the best in the world, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But to find a wife or a mother for your children, it's tough for the nails.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's crazy.
And this is why we are the age we are and we're not married. And if we lived in an Islamic country, we would have been married at 21.
Yeah.
And we would have 5 kids by now.
Yeah.
And this is the
man, get out of there. I understand. I think it's if what you suggested in your super chat is the close cousin or next step to the individual who, as he said, I'll just go ahead and read that. There's already a community of women who advocate for that. Their leader is Cynthia G. Yes, there is a bit of advocacy for deleting male babies in the womb. There is a bit of that. I understand that. I still think it's a difference in gunning down a grown ass man, but but yeah, no, it's wild though. It's wild. We can't deny the simple fact. We can't deny the simple fact. But anyway, Captain Cisco in the building with the $10 super chat. I do greatly appreciate that. He says Edward Anderson and BGS was the first pro Passport Bros. KS, Obsidian, and a lot of other Manosphere guys were not in full support of the Passport Bros in 2016. 2016 is a bit before my time. I know my history with it. I've been in support of it, never claimed to be a Passport Bro, not a Passport Bro, but definitely in support of men doing whatever they see best, whatever they see the best suits and best fits them. I'm definitely 100% in support of it. But But yeah, Kevin Samuels, as far as I know, understand with Kevin Samuels, he did eventually support it. He was talking about options, how competition produces a better product, and I agree with him on that. I think all options should be on the table. Competition definitely produces a better product. Obsidian has been on and off, on again and off again with it. There has been a lot of guys who didn't support it, and so I don't know. I can't keep up with everybody's position on shit. I only know what my position is on shit. So there's that. I'll just say that I can't keep up with everybody else's position, and I'll leave that there. I'll leave that there because there are people who have flip flopped on their position on that. I only could keep up with my position, and I've always been in favor of I'm pro black male, black male first. Shout out to Grown Man Business. So because of that, black male sovereignty, flourishing, and whatever has to be done to get you the best quality of life that you want. I am pro that. But thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. No internet in the building says there was a black man that wasn't affiliated that was gunned down in I don't know what state or city that is, but he says I think recently, and he got lumped in with passport bros, and many black women celebrated his murder. Damn. Send me some info on that. I am curious with that. Thank you for that super chat, and I do appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that, and send me some info on that. But all right, let's get back to the tape.
He comes to London to party all the time, and we're in the clubs, whatever. And he looks at me and says, "Look around." We look around. He goes, "There's girls here to. There's no wives here."
Yeah.
He goes, "I'll f your." He says, "I'll f your Western women, but I'm marrying a Muslim woman."
Yeah.
And it's like this is how they view the world.
America feels like that, man. There's plenty of girls to but it's not the best in the world, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But to find a wife or a mother for your children is tough for the nails.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's crazy.
And this is why we are the age we are, and we're not married. And if we lived in an Islamic country, we would have been married at 21.
Yeah.
And we would have 5 kids by now.
Yeah.
And this is the reality of the human condition. This is the reality of the Western world. And most people don't want to accept it. We can talk about countries, we can talk about governments, all these things. Without children, there's no future and there's nothing else. So you destroy the motivation for people to have kids. You're going to lose to the people who do have kids.
This is an issue that needs to be strongly addressed within the black.
What he just said right there, a lot of people don't understand that's truly addressing it from a sociological perspective, from a broad macro perspective, and people don't understand that. In every country where feminism takes hold and things get more egalitarian, the birth rate goes down, and a lot of other things goes down, and aspects of society don't function as well. I'll just say that the aspects of society don't function as well. And then over time, the point that he's essentially making is that over time, you will, from a population standpoint, lose out or get, outbred by other groups. And it does, but we can all assimilate into one big melting pot over here in this country, but in other countries, in other parts of the world, if they're not doing that, they're ultimately going to win if they keep their traditionalism on the table. But anyway,
that needs to be strongly addressed within the black church. And give me a second here to unpack a little bit of why I'm circling back to this. This is just a continuation of the conversation we've been having all week about single motherhood, the problems created in the hood, and for the most part, we're dancing around these issues. No one wants to take it head on. It's the biggest crisis. Don't go anywhere. It's the biggest crisis. Don't go anywhere. It's the biggest crisis going on within the black community. The fall.
That means even on Jason Whitlock's channel, people start leaving when he start talking about how single motherhood is the biggest crisis going on in the black community. The children born out of wedlock is the biggest problem going on in the black community. Even in Jason Whitlock's channel, he has to remind people, don't leave. Because people don't want to hear that. They don't want to look at that. They want to hear about white supremacy.
All of the black family. not raising women worthy of marriage or even interested in marriage. And we mostly dance around this issue. And this week, when I started talking about the family and people thought it was interesting, like the Shade Room picked it up. And the Shade Room is a aggregator, a popular social media account. And it's not surprising, like later that day, and I don't know if it's true, but later that day, I started seeing rumors that TD Jakes and his family have some sort of financial stake or involvement in the Shade Room. And the Shade Room is very secular.
Should TD Jakes have some type of financial involvement in that? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Because I know he can spin that and say that, oh, well, we can't be so holy that we can't reach out and be a part of things of the world, because how else will we change them? You know, he could spin that. He could spin that, but you have financial interest in the Shade Room. One could argue that means you got financial interest in the sin that you preach against, in the worldly sin that you preach against. You ain't in there trying to turn it into the the holier than thou, holy of holy, the Holy Ghost filled Christian Shade Room. Like, I mean, you know. Hold on. Good one. Good call right there. He says, sounds shady to me. Good call on that one. Oh man, that's yeah. Yeah, good call on that one.
But I thought it was interesting that they picked up my Tucker Carlson comments and didn't just like really try to assassinate me with their promotion of it. And then you have to remember that TD Jakes, maybe 6-7 months ago, he started trending and got people started talking about him when he did a sermon about we're raising Black women to be men. And it's true. Everybody's dancing around and nibbling at the thing. People started talking about him when he did a sermon about we're raising Black women to be men. And it's true. Everybody's dancing around and nibbling at this issue. And TD Jakes went after it in that particular sermon, and people talked about it. But this is like something that probably needs to be.
I don't know if it's true, but TD Jakes' congregation, as some photos showed, was allegedly half empty after he basically said some stuff that sounded like he got it right out of Kevin Samuels' mouth. I don't know if that's true or not, but we do remember when he did say that and the internet exploded. We do remember that. We do know that these are issues that Black people don't want to be touched.
To be discussed every single day, every single Sunday. Churches need to be marriage factories. That should be their goal, because
that's what I said at first. In arranged marriages, properly vetted men with decent jobs, paired up with well indoctrinated 18-year-olds. as not right as that may sound to some, they should, if they were really about what they say they are about, they would be trying to instill something like that. They'll be trying to initiate that. They'll be trying to make that happen. They'll be trying to facilitate that in some way, shape, or form. If they were really about what they say they're about, if they're really about families and marriage and people not sinning and fornicating and being out in the streets and out in the world, they would be trying to do whatever they can to mass produce marriages, to get men in the church and mass produce, get marriages happening at a massive scale. The church will be trying to facilitate that. They will be trying to facilitate families. But I think they've adopted a lot of the more liberal leaning ideas, and a woman showing up to the church with, 3 kids and a baby on her hip, that's a family. And that's good. And that's okay. I don't run from the word indoctrinated, because I think in this modern time, in this modern Western culture, if you're going to teach a young woman to that getting married young is a thing, I think you do have to indoctrinate them when they're young. And the reason I use the word indoctrinate, because to educate, there's an element of choice in it. But if you start teaching somebody about, ideologies and thought processes young enough, you're not exactly educating them, you are indoctrinating them. I think you can indoctrinate somebody with good ideas and bad ideas. So indoctrinate is not the right word, but I maybe I'm controversially using it. But when I look up the definition of it, it is the right word. It just, people normally indoctrinate for nefarious reasons. I think you can indoctrinate for good reasons. But again, that's if the church was about what they say they about. Now, if they're not about what they say they about, and they just want a congregation in there to pander to collect 10% from, well, hell, from a business standpoint, they'll get a bigger. The 10% will be bigger if they facilitated more families. So that 10% will be a bigger pot. The congregation will be bigger. The 10% will be bigger. They're so it's almost like it's almost like they don't want to say nothing to fuck around and poison an already poisoned well. It's almost like they're operating like that.
If we don't restore the family, there's no future. And so corporate media basically forbids any discussion that promotes a Christian male heterosexual perspective. Just look at the reaction to my comments on Tucker Carlson's show last week. I argued that the destruction of the nuclear family drives the chaos, violence, and bad policing we see in Black communities. I argued the absence of male leadership dooms Black communities. Rather than debate these obvious facts, reaction across most social and mainstream media platforms focused on the timing of my comments and or whether I was fair to Cyril Davis, the female police chief installed to fix Memphis's violent crime problem.
Yep, he's absolutely right on that. However, he approached it in a way that gave them the out to sidestep it and only focus on how he depicted her as a single mother. They looked it up. She's married and got one kid, so she ain't a baby mama. So it's like, yeah, he did it in a way that opened the door for criticism. But the general larger macro point that he was making is a good point. The timing, I understand why they feel right for some, but it's never a bad time to talk about the stuff that the conversation that he started. But there's that.
We're basically forbidden from even discussing the fact that 60 years of Great Society legislation has turned Black men and women into enemies incapable of sustaining marriage, developing masculine men, and maintaining order in their communities. Things are so bad between us that success is defined as moving into all-white neighborhoods, being allies to drag queens, and affirming queer theory. It's so bad that...
Damn. Damn. Now, I've talked about how success for Black people is getting away from Black people. All the Black people that are successful and worth a damn, the first thing they do is get away from Black people, to where there aren't as many successful Black communities as it should be, because all the successful Black people are just sprinkled around into other communities. But he added a layer or two in there that I don't add as much, but he wasn't wrong.
That success is defined as moving into all-white neighborhoods, being allies to drag queens, and affirming queer theory. It's so bad that Black men of...
That affirming queer theory, because Black people because Black people are so staunch down with the left, and then you throw it. It's like, put it like this: they want Black people to assimilate. Well, they already have. Black people already have to assimilate basically into the melting pot. They want Black people to assimilate into the melting pot or the rainbow coalition of everything on the left, and that's That's where y'all at. That's where y'all live. That's where y'all operate. That's where you get all your thoughts, ideas, views, and perspective. All of their issues is your issues. It's black and brown people. It's not black issues. It's you can talk about Black Lives Matter transitions, right? No pun intended on the word transition, but Black Lives Matter transitions right over to Black Trans Lives Matter. All of that gets rolled into one. So that is an angle on it, but at its bare bones, you take ideology and politics and all of that out of it. Yes, success for Black people does typically mean moving away from other Black people and moving into basically an all-white neighborhood. That's typically how success has been defined. Typically how success has been defined. The Passport Bros is an extension and an outgrowth of that, because now it's not just so much, I'm a little successful moving around white folks, and I'm not taking a Black woman with me over here to wherever I'm moving to. And I'm about to move even further, potentially moving overseas and or pulling a chick out from over there. It's an extension of it. But shout out to No Internet Today. He says there was a Black man that wasn't affiliated. Oh, okay, I already read that one. No Internet says Eric Gavin, age 38, accomplished lawyer from University of MD, was an USAF vet, father, shot and killed in, I don't know what that is. I know that's somewhere overseas, but he says was not a passport bro, but his death was celebrated. Oh yeah, I did read that one already. The Clue Channel in the building says we shouldn't be marrying based on skin anyway. Agreed.
Means are getting passports to find women outside of America. Passport Bros is a thing because you can't sustain a relationship on racial idolatry or racial victimization. Racial idolatry and racial victimization are popular, pervasive talking points within Black churches.
Jason Whitlock has a way of dropping bombs. Some of the things that we talk about for a long time, he has a way of putting it very succinctly into just one or two sentences. Like he's literally good at what he does. He's literally good at what he does. Now, I gotta run that back. We gotta stop and talk about that one for a little bit.
Passports to find women outside of America. Passport Bros is a thing because you can't sustain a relationship on racial idolatry or racial victimization.
You can't sustain a relationship on racial idolatry or victimization. Now, what exactly does he mean by that? When we are having these conversations about the social dynamics between Black men and Black women, and we're talking about it from a standpoint of, things being out of order, and, we talk about it from the standpoint of even fixing a problem. We're talking about it from that standpoint. One of the key core arguments is that essentially we've heard this argument. Stop me if you heard this one. Only a Black woman knows the struggle that you've been through. Only a Black woman can relate to your struggle, because your struggle is my struggle, and our struggle, we struggle together. Let's struggle. Let's struggle. We victims under this system together, so we got to be victims. It's like, you can't build a relationship predicated on that. You can't build anything predicated on that. You can't build anything predicated on we're victims. Let's no. And that's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what Black folks cling on to. That's literally what we cling on to. And I talked earlier about, the system versus culture, how I think is more of the culture. I think a lot of times when people, talk too much, I would say too much about white supremacy, it turns into like that, like that's how we identify. Like it's the actual, the Jim Crow laws and the history and some messed up things that's happened, and even some racist stuff that could happen today. That turns into that. But it's like there is an element of us that where we want to own that victim mentality, that victim, that struggle, that it's like we have to have that on us, and it has to exist in everything that we do. It has to be in the conversation when we talking about business. We're talking about a relationship. We got to talk about that. We talk about how we raising our kids. We got to talk about that. How we educate our kids. Like everything is predicated on the struggle, on victimization. And it's like like I understand where we came from and understand where we at, but it's like it's talked about from a perspective is that we can't have a productive conversation about anything without averaging racism or white supremacy into the equation, even when it comes to what's going on in an interpersonal relationship within the walls of the house of two people who's supposed to give a damn about each other, supposed to love each other. Okay, they gotta bring the white man into their bedroom. Like that's weird. That's just never ending weird to me. That's just never endingly weird. But that's what people do in these conversations. When having these conversations, that's immediately what it goes to. Freeman's Journal in the building. He says, not enough black women know victory. Shout out to Nate, something that he said. He said victory over victimhood. And that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. Oh man. Shout out to Freeman's Journal with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that.
Racial idolatry and racial victimization are popular, pervasive talking points within black churches. You can't build a relationship on that foundation. That's what we've made into the common ground for black men and women at this point. Hey, we both experienced racism. Let's date. It's got to be deeper than that. Heterosexual, masculine men seek long-term relationships with women whom they find common ground with about roles in the relationship. Men of faith seek women whom they find common ground with about biblical values. If a woman thinks being an ally to the LGBTQ alphabet mafia is more important than being an ally to God, there's going to be a problem in the relationship. If she objects to male leadership in the relationship, there's going to be a problem. It's inevitable. Our marriage rate is low and our divorce rate astronomical because we don't agree on the basic fundamentals of a relationship. The discord over fundamentals leads to baby mama culture. Baby mama culture leads to train wreck neighborhoods and communities. Baby mama drama is driving men to acquire passports and look elsewhere for relationships. You can lie to yourself and claim these men are bitter or aren't man enough to deal with a so-called strong black American woman. Lenny Kravitz already told you. American woman said, get away. American woman, listen what I say. Don't come hanging around my door. Don't want to see your face no more. I don't need your war machines. I don't need your ghetto scenes. Don't be upset with me. You can just say I'm bitter.
All right. One thing that I do like, I like how he connected his previous controversy to this. I do like how he connected his previous controversy to this. All the things that he was complaining, or not complaining, but he was speaking to. He was all the things that he was speaking to as far as the culture being messed up, and how that culture being messed up that produces all the results that we see. The men who don't, I guess, become overtaken by that culture, what do? The passport bros is basically an outgrowth of that. They're going to separate from it. Now, normally separating from it is typically meant just moving to another neighborhood further away from it. Just go live around white folks. Now Negroes trying to get even further away. Now Negroes try to get even further away. Let's talk about real quick. let's talk about real quick, because he brought somebody on who got on some go tell it on the mountain type stuff. Real, he did, but let's talk about it from this perspective. Let's talk about this from this perspective. Does Jason Whitlock talking about Passport Bros, speaking up for Passport Bros, basically giving his stamp of approval on Passport Bros? Is that good? Is that good for the Passport Bros from this perspective? You know, they Passport Bros just ran into some heat with Austin Holloman, and I did a stream that was pretty controversial, not controversial, but it elicited a lot of good debate. Where I said the Passport Bros throw Austin Holloman under the bus. I asked that question. It was a real good stream, real good debate, and back and forth on there. Shout out to Fatty, but no, an interesting thing, a very interesting thing is that they got a lot of bad press. Passport Bros did get a lot of bad press when it came to that whole situation with Austin Holloman. So I am asking, to some degree, to what extent was this kind of needed as a kickback, a boost me back up, a pick me back up from the whole from the whole situation. It's almost like this was oh, so you say it looks like somebody's saying intentional bad press. How do you say that? You think this is bad press? I mean, this is somebody who's separate and apart from Passport Bros or the Manosphere, who, in my opinion, just gave them some really good press. But he's also somebody who's very well hated by Black America. He's up there with Larry Elder when it comes to people in Black America that can't stand him. Do Passport Bros want to be depicted with that? That's a thing, because when somebody in a big name like that speaks for it, they indirectly start de facto becoming, one of the faces of it, or just associated with it. So those are things that I did think about coming in when I was setting this up. That so there's a lot of different angles with this. There's a lot of different angles. I shouted out Fatty. Nobody else shout out Fatty. keep the Fatty shout outs to a minimum. But no, I'm cool with Fatty. He be on some bullshit, but I'm cool with him.
And I'm just focusing everything on the Black woman, and I'm taking no accountability, no responsibility. Anybody that's watched this show knows that more than anybody you ever see in the public space, I take accountability for my mistakes. I talk about them constantly. I don't let anybody off the hook.
I do think it's a fair discussion that everybody has from a disingenuous standpoint when it comes to the problems in Black America that would inspire a Passport Bro to want to get out of Dodge. And from the Passport Bro perspective, they talk about the culture with the women, but then somebody could argue that, okay, well, it's the men who contribute to that and make that be what it is. They ain't becoming single mothers by themselves. Well, okay, but if the Passport Bros are brothers who didn't create these problems, see what it turns into, a lot of women and the men who created a lot of those problems are trying to make the men who didn't create those problems stay and fix it. That's what it runs into. Now, it is a fair discussion that could be had. It is a fair discussion that could be had about, to what percentage are these problems are the men's fault versus the women's fault, and blah, 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 blah. Like you could have that fair discussion. You could have that debate. And I know where I stand on that debate and that discussion, but it is a fair discussion to be had. But a lot of people try to have that discussion from a disingenuous standpoint and from a standpoint of wanting the men who didn't contribute to the problems to fix the problem. Now, I do have an issue with a dude walking around with 4 baby mamas talking about yeah, I'm going my own way. I got my passport. Like, hold on. Hold your horses before you go. Now, you got a lot of shit here you need to take care of, homie. But So I do have my issues. I do have some issues with that. So like I've said, there's a fair what the hell? You said Fatty is going to buy the manosphere in 2026. Okay. Yeah, sure.
But the facts are, we have embraced a culture that does not develop or produce women worthy of, capable of pulling off successful marriages. That's just a fact. That's not me taking a dump on them. That's if Kenny, who's working the camera, if he shouted out, you know what, Kenny, just shout out, Jason, you're fat. Please. Jason is fat. I can't be offended by that. It's a fact. I just can't be offended. I'd prefer he didn't shout it. But you know what? I actually would prefer he did shout it rather than let me live in a state of denial that I don't need to lose weight. He's shouting that I'm fat because he wants me to continue losing weight. He wants me healthy. And so I'm me and others, this whole manosphere, I'm trying to say to the Black woman.
Oh, I got too many windows open. Give me a second. All right. All right, there we go. All right, my bad, y'all. I had an extra window open and I was hearing background noise. Yeah, I couldn't hear it, but I could hear it and it was annoying me. But all right, so I had to close that. But all right. Did y'all hear what he just said there?
And so I'm me and others, this whole manosphere, I'm wait. He wants me healthy. And so I'm me and others, this whole manosphere, I'm trying to say to the Black woman.
Yeah, see, I had to re-listen to that again. It didn't sound like he was saying he was a part of it. He just said me and others, this whole manosphere. I thought he said it differently at first. Let me say his official initiation. What do y'all think? Y'all think he light? Do y'all think he lightweight said he was a part of it? What do y'all think on that? Do y'all think that was him lightweight saying that he was a part of it? What's your thoughts on that?
If you don't course correct, this chaos, this destruction, this lack of success is going to continue. And you're going to be sitting at home with a vibrator and some batteries, or a girlfriend or whatever, no man, maybe some kid you got from a one-night stand or whatever. But, you know, as Kevin Samuels talked about, all these high-value men are going to become passport bros. And I'm not a passport bro, but because I didn't even know what passport bros were until yesterday. I've seen it over Twitter and thought, what is passport? I didn't even know what it was about. And then someone sent me an email yesterday. I was like, oh, that's what they're referencing when they talk about passport. And so yesterday I started doing research and I was like, oh, because trust me, I thought about being a passport bro. But I was like, oh, there's a movement doing it. And I'm like, you know what? Let me be like everybody else. I got the means. Let me go elsewhere because the solutions perhaps aren't here in a
Freeman's Journal, what exactly are you talking about? You said Whitlock is obviously new to this. He still think he can explain it to hashtag Keisha. What you talking about? I don't necessarily get what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure his audience is. In fact, I look at his chat. His audience is majority men. He's talking to men. He's educating men. He's informing men. He's giving thoughts, views, perspectives, and insights to men. So I don't know what you mean by you think he can explain it to Keisha. I don't get that. That's to me. That's a conversation derailment when brothers are making progress in the conversation. Somebody want to come in and just say they trying to change hoes. It's like that's to me, and I'm not saying you doing that, but that's what people do when they run interference. To me, that's what people do when they run in interference for Keisha. If somebody is calling out the bullshit that Keisha is doing on a really big satellite, if somebody is doing it on a really big satellite with a really big radio signal, and a lot of men are seeing it in there, if they're accurately describing what the problem is, what the situation is, and what men are doing in response to it, I think it's a derailment when you try to say that, oh, he's just trying to explain it to women. It's like that's what people try to straw man. That's a slight background noise, like a fan going on right there. But shout out to Freedman's Journal in the building.
Hey, oh yeah, that's the Gardeners. Apologies.
Actually, it's not that bad once you started talking. So go ahead. You got the flow. You got the mic.
Oh yeah, I wasn't saying that he's trying to say Keisha. What I mean is he's new to this and that explaining it and saying that, hey, doing this, black woman, you're gonna get this result.
Hold on, wait, back up. You kind of froze.
Okay, he said that he was explaining that if they stay on this course, they're gonna get this particular result, which is, I mean, we've been saying that for a while, so I'm just saying he's new to it in that he's explaining something we've explained, right? As if he can just say that. I'm not saying he's trying to save. He's not trying to save. I'm not saying it in a derogatory fashion. What I'm saying is that he's just new to maybe all the information. That's it.
I don't think he's that new to it because he's pretty good at articulating it, but I don't see a huge difference between saying, man, what these chicks doing, that's gonna have them in this situation versus if you. I guess I don't understand what the gripe is. I guess
No, right.
Oh,
No,
okay,
right.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think he gives an accurate description of what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying I wasn't trying to derail or anything. I'm just trying to explain that it seems like he's new just because he's on more of just like explaining it can happen or explaining it is gonna change behavior versus enforcing consequences or encouraging passport bros. That's all. I mean,
Yeah, and
I wasn't trying to derail.
Oh no. We are good. No, I was the link was in the chat because I was up for conversation and back and forth. But no, the passport bros is, I think, an ultimate enforced consequence. Men not putting up with the bullshit and the nonsense from women is an enforced consequence. Men changing, how they even deal and interact with women. All of those are enforced consequences. So I think, I think he's pretty solid in everything that he's saying. I don't see flaws in it. I don't see no flaws or chinks in the armor. And I do see some flaws and chinks in the armor with the next dude that's coming up. And I don't know if you want to stick around with that, 'cause you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's kind of like, oh, they just, they tricked him. The black woman's been tricked. And I was like, it's always a good time to show the Sojourner Truth quote. Just to let you know, it's been since the very end of slavery that they have been on this black man named Ish, right? Trying to exert
what's
their authority.
What's that Sojourner Truth quote?
Oh, okay. Here, let me get it real quick.
Yeah. Here, this is my thing, and this is got to shout out Hood Conservative on this one when he said that, if someone says that they made a deal with the devil, when it comes to feminism and all of that. Okay, whenever somebody makes a deal with the devil, they only can make that deal with the devil if the devil When somebody makes a deal with the devil offers you something that you already wanted. When somebody make a deal with the devil offers something that you already wanted anyway. So it's inaccurate to say they were tricked. It's inaccurate to say anybody was tricked.
Correct.
But what you got? You got the quote ready to go?
No. I gotta find it again. I had the bookmark. But no, you can go ahead. Keep playing it. I'm gonna look for it.
Okay, cool.
America, because our culture produces competitors for black men. It produces women who want to be leaders in a relationship, want to outwork and outperform you in the workplace, wants to be the major breadwinner, wants to be the shot caller, no interest in being a helpmeet. It's our culture, and you could say, hey, we can't trust you. You guys play around. You guys want to go out. You want some woman you can just run over, and you can go screw whoever you want. That may be the man, your choice of man. But there are guys out here that have a biblical worldview and have sincere religious faith that would love.
Wait, hold on. Here's the quote. Now this was Sojourner Truth back when's about what year? Let me see. I don't know exactly what this year, but this was way back. You said coming out of slavery, damn near pretty much. Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah, there's a great stir about colored men getting. Oh yeah, I remember this. There's a great stir about colored men getting their rights, but not a word about the colored woman. And if colored men get their rights and not colored women, you see the colored men will be masters over the women, and it will be just as bad as it was before. So I am for keeping the thing. Oh wow. So I am for keeping the thing going while things are stirring, because if we wait till it is still, oh yeah, if we wait till it is still, it will take a great while to get it going again. Yeah, that's a doozy of a quote. That is a doozy of a quote right there. I thought I was sharing the screen, but there it is. That's small. Yeah, I can't see it anyway. But yeah, that is a hell of a quote.
Yep.
That is a hell of a quote right there. Like, goddamn.
Nothing new. But I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for the time, Bernard. And that page also has the quote in pictures, so you can download the picture and blow it up if you want to.
Okay, cool.
Later.
All right, yeah, peace. All right, let's get not that one. We going right here. Let's pull this back up. Link in the chat. Does anybody else want to come up and join the conversation? Anybody else want to come up and join the conversation? The link is in the chat room.
On board with their program. But it's sincere religious faith that would love to make it easy to find women that look like their mama that's on board with their program.
Oh my goodness. I hate when people use that term, women that look like your mother. Can they just say black women and not say women that look like your mother? Nobody is out dating to find someone that like it. I understand what they mean. Someone who came from the genetic lineage or gene pool of a certain genetic traits and attributes that you came from. That's what they mean by look like your mother. I get what they're saying. It just sounds very incestuous, on some Sigmund Freud type stuff. Stop. I just hate when people do that. I don't think he meant nothing by it. I'm just no fan of it being worded that way. I'm just no fan of it being worded that way. Jeez. Not a fan. All right. No Wonder in the Building. He says, man was created in God's image. A serpent deceived Eve to believe she could be God, independent from man and the divine order. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Also, we got Lionel Player One in the building. Says, these women complaining about these men they call lame for traveling is like an employer complaining that you got a better job after they fired you. Excellent point. Excellent point. That's very well said. And that's fairly accurate. That is fairly accurate. Good points on that. Good points on that.
It's hard, it's nearly impossible right now. They all think they're the kings. The Woman King movie and all that, The Equalizer. They think they can jump off balconies at 50 years old at 270 pounds and beat up men.
I think he's talking about a Queen Latifah movie or something. I don't know. But because he mentioned that a lot, I just don't know exactly. I haven't seen what he's referring to, but he mentions that a lot.
It's a joke. We'll bring in, we'll roll out to Minneapolis and bring in Morpheus, Royce White, the most interesting man in the world. Royce, let me see where I want to start and bring you into this conversation. Right now, I'm arguing that, you know, the divergent values and instincts and roles have basically made relationships between the black man and black woman unsustainable and a pipe dream.
Well, absolutely, and we've talked about this before, but you know the Willie Lynch address, right? The Willie Lynch address described this perfectly, and many people argue or debate whether the Willie Lynch address is actually authentic or not. But whether it's authentic or not, I don't think anybody who reads it, who grew up in the black community, can deny its accuracy from a cultural standpoint. We're raising our kids in reverse roles, and it's not by accident. It's not by accident. Women have.
You don't got to go to Willie Lynch for that. Yes, there was some stuff going on that wasn't exactly perfect. Post-Reconstruction and Jim Crow and obviously all of that, because it was a Reconstruction and Jim Crow, but it was a high marital rate. I think things from a traditional standpoint was in order, so I don't think you got to go to Willie Lynch to try to find the I think you're going back too far back in time to pin the tail on the donkey, even though it is some good things that can be learned and gleaned from that. But I think to the more recent problems that we having, I think sometime around the late 60s, early 70s is when is the thing is that's where I tend to start from. Put it like that. That's where I tend to start from. I understand some people like to go further back in time.
A much less impulse to revolt. Women have a much less impulse to violence. And that was what Willie Lynch described, or what is described in the address, is that if you can, if you can shatter the image of the black woman of the black man in the black woman's mind, she'll be your greatest guard dog. And that's a terrible realization when you really think about it. It's dark, and it's quite perverse, but it is the reality, and it is what has happened. The black woman has served as the outer bastion for the entire neoliberal, neocon establishment. And she stifles any real revolt from black men to either revolt in a real way, or even just get together politically, socially. Everybody has to be home by 9 p.m. or else they're out cheating and whatever else. So yeah, the black woman has become the greatest tool of the establishment, no doubt.
I love you bringing, I wasn't prepared, but I love you bringing the Willie Lynch letter into this. And look, there's controversy about whether it's real or not, but there are some.
Yeah, most historians came to the conclusion that Willie Lynch letter was not real. Most historians did have come to that conclusion.
Essential truths that are espoused in that. And I like how you basically point out, like, she will be the guard dog for and that is what the Democrat Party has done. If the black woman is like, if you're a black man and express conservative values, if you don't vote the way they think you should vote, if for some reason, again, the number one crime you can commit as a black man is not hate Donald Trump.
Right.
That woman will then, you don't hate Donald Trump, can't date you, don't want to be around you, there's something wrong with you. And so she's so powerful, and too many men are so desperate for what's between her legs that they fold in order to keep peace in the home and to keep the relationship together. They pretend like they hate Donald Trump. And again, I've had to deal with this with a lot of my own friends. And again, not all, but a lot of my own friends where I've had to call them. I was like, you can't sit in front of me and pretend like Donald Trump is some sort of evil or has said something that you.
Yeah, see, they're veering off and getting off subject here, but let's roll for, let's look at this for a second. You're saying, I wonder what Destiny thinks about Jason's statement. Which one? Which statement? Type in the chat room. You don't got to super chat it, but just type it in the chat room and I'll click on it and read it. I don't know what particular statement you mean. I don't know what particular statement you're talking about.
You haven't said or done. He's no more or less immoral or moral than you, my friends. And I'm just talking about many of them, not all. I don't want anybody of my friends, wives watching and thinking I'm talking about everybody, but I'm not talking about everybody. But I know my friends, and I know who their friends are. And if it ain't them, they're friends with me. You wouldn't like me if you thought everything Donald Trump thought and did in his personal life was out of bounds, and that means you gotta hate me. If not that I've ever said grab him by the P word, but I've said close, and I've done close, and
all right.
And so
they got off topic. They said it was a lot of good things said. I'm gonna fast forward it. I am curious. I haven't seen this part, so I'm fast forwarding to a part I haven't seen. I normally don't do this. I want to hear what I am just very curious what Shamika
and what do you think of
Shamika Nicole, I believe her name is. She'd normally be dropping bombs, but I'm just very curious about what she got to say about Passport Bros. I am very curious about that. So yeah, I gotta check that one out. That'll probably be the last thing I'll do here before I wrap this on up.
Yes, I have heard of them recently. And when I first saw it, I didn't think much about it, honestly, because I think that men have been doing this for years. If you ask me, Black men are late to the party. When you look at white men who have been doing well in life, a lot of them have married foreign women. You can just look at Donald Trump himself. He had Ivanka and he had Melania, and I'm not sure about that one in the middle, but
yeah, good point. Donald Trump a passport bro. White men been passport bros without the bro.
White men have been doing this for a long time. So I think Black men are just now coming up on it. And it shows that there are a lot of people just plain sick of feminism, period, across the board. So I have no issue with Black men deciding that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because what I think is that Black women, they saw this happening, but they never thought it could happen to them. They continue to think you could just put anything in front of a Black man. You could be fat, you can talk back, you can ridicule him, belittle him, and be condescending anytime you're upset. And he's just going to continue to be right there, because where else is he going to go? Now he's showing you he's going to get his passport and he's going to look elsewhere. And it's not about just color. I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, you all, you suffer from colorism. A lot of these men are saying they want Black women. They don't want American Black women, which just shows that if we course correct, as you said earlier, we might could stand a chance. But as long as you think they're crazy, I'm right, I'm not changing, you need to bow down and listen to me, then you're going to be, stuck at home with your vibrator.
All right, I got to call Cap on her and Jason Whitlock. I got to call Cap for this one thing. They both said they just heard of Passport Bros and they just researched it. I'm calling Cap on that. Reason being, is they hit every damn point. I don't think they just found out about it yesterday. Because Jason Whitlock said he didn't know what a Passport Bro was until yesterday. So they talking like they just found out about it. But they could hit every talking point in one paragraph. They hit all 12 talking points in one paragraph. It's like, nah, y'all been on this. Hey, RM, you could, the hold up thing is in there. You could just push it when there's a hold up moment. You could push it yourself. Go ahead and do it just to see. It's the one that's kind of faded. It's in the video section of the the part to say video clips. You could drop it. You could push the button for a video clip whenever you want. Go ahead and find the hold up and push it. But yeah, that is a hold up.
Hold up.
Yeah. They hit every talking point in less than 24 hours. They got every talking point. Do a full analysis, beginning to end, whole synopsis, write the whole thesis in 5 paragraphs after 1 hour of research. Yeah, okay. I mean, maybe they're that talented. Maybe they're that talented. But they or clearly y'all been listening.
Greater.
Can we course correct, or have things gotten so bad that it's not fixable? I mean, we're so far down this feminism path, and the way women are being raised in this country, and you're right, it's not just Black women, but just women in general are being raised in this path. And I'm just sorry, men are always going to maintain a natural instinct to lead and to be masculine and to look for a wife that wants to play a different.
That is an interesting point. If you're saying he got producers, and I'm pretty sure he has a team of people that does research for him. But I could kind of tell the difference in somebody who has somebody feeding them information versus somebody who has an understanding of it. And they both speak, I would say, from a perspective of having an understanding for it. I do know when he does his fire starter, I know he writes all that himself. He has a unique style, a unique communication style. I know he's writing all of that himself. So I'm pretty sure. I know I'm pretty sure it's coming out of him from within. I'm just calling Cap on the what the hell games are you talking about? I'm just calling Cap on the whole I just found out about Passport Bros yesterday. It's like they're speaking too fluently and hitting all the points. And Game Changer, why are you saying, damn it, Bernard has a beard? Why is that a revelation? I think I've had one since I've been on YouTube. Pretty sure. It ain't looking its best right now. I could stand to look a little better, but I don't know why that's a revelation. Jackie with the halfway decent jokes. Drake also has a unique style too, but you're doing good. You're getting an A for the day on those jokes. You're getting an A for the day on those jokes. You really are.
Different role than him. Is this fixable?
I don't know about in our generation, Jason, but I do think of the more people that become aware that it's a problem, will begin to teach their children differently. And that's really what I'm hoping, that when I say course correction, that we'll start to teach our children to be different, because we see that it's an issue. So for a lot of people, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't think you're going to help these old dogs. Some of them are set in their ways, and they feel like this is just who I am. This is just how I talk. And they think that they're not going to change, and they don't have to. And some type of magical hand is just going to reach out of the sky and say, well, let me give you this man because, you don't want to change. You don't.
Game changer. Sometimes the layers and depth of your pettiness is just too deep to where I don't even know who you being petty to right now. I think it's somebody who was on a stream the day before yesterday that you had a run in with, that you're like that's a cryptic sneak diss to somebody. I just don't know who. He says, I never noticed it before. Too many brothers here have beards. That's a cryptic sneak diss to somebody. I just don't know who. I just don't know who.
Want to course correct. You don't want to look at yourself.
All right, GC. I was about to get up out of here, but if you must, the link was probably already in the chat. RM, put that link in the chat for Game Changer. There it is.
And take a good long look and actually be honest. Let me just bless you anyway. They think that, let them keep thinking that. I don't care. But I do think for those of us that see the issue, we will begin to teach the generations coming after us something different. And we can only hope, Jason. I try to stay hopeful, but.
All right. Shout out to Jason Whitlock, running a great program over there. Did a show on the Passport Bros. Blah 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 blah. All right, GC, whose beard are you? Whose beard are you hating on today? What's going on?
I'm hating on Trill's beard in particular from Cruise Seasons, but it's deeper than the beard. So you have a bearded fellow talking like beard yesterday, and he's basically saying the box, the woman's vagina, the pussy is golden. It has all this ultimate power, etc., etc., etc. And I was like, maybe there's a point to it, because somewhere some pussies said that they like beards, and it seemed like all the brothers are walking around bearded now. They all just walking around, with afros on their face and shit. And I'm like, is this a tribute? Is this a tribute to the power of the pussy? Is that the case? Is that what's going on now? Like, why do you have a full face of beard?
Because I thought it would get me more pussy.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. The box is controlling our face. That's what I'm saying.
Game Changer, got to ask you a very personal question, and you don't have to answer, but I know you're 44 years old, right?
Yeah. If you're asking,
okay.
No, I don't have a full face of beard.
No, I wasn't going to ask you, do you have a full face of beard? I was going to ask you, can you grow a beard if you wanted to?
That is very personal.
Okay, you don't got to answer. I'm
gonna say this. I don't know, but if I can, I only was able to do it recently. I just now started shaving that part of my face.
Okay.
So I do have to shave it there, but I don't know if it will grow full and thick if I didn't shave it there.
You should give it like a month. Just don't touch it for a month or two, just so you can know in your heart that you could grow a beard if you wanted to. That way you don't got to be feeling some type of way when dudes come up with beards, pull up on you with beards. So you don't got to feel some type of way about it.
Well, no. I like to stand out. And there's too many beard-faced people out there. All of the Peep Show is beard-faced. Let's be real.
Beard, glasses, and hats. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Them niggas in disguise. All right,
I'm just, it's too many. Like,
if everybody on that show took off their hat, their glasses, and shaved their beard, just cammed up, we were like, who the fuck are y'all? All right. Okay.
Okay, beards are biblical. I'm just saying, like, y'all didn't start doing it until, like, what was it, 2007? I'm just saying that, like,
Oh man, yeah. No, the beards are a thing. It did kind of leak out that women liked beards, and the overall rate of beards went up when people thought beards could get them some more box. That is true. That is true.
I'm saying it's a tribute to the box. It's a tribute to the box
Well,
that
hold
all
on.
these
Tell me real quick, because I was like scrolling through. I saw Courtney Michelle had a panel, and it looked like she was reviewing a Chantel Simone panel. And I saw Courtney Michelle, somebody else that was on camera, 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 and your chess piece avatar was right in the midst of all those on camera people standing strong, holding it down. But I didn't really watch none of it. But what was the general genesis of that? Like, what was the highlights of what was talked about on there, other than beards and pussy?
That is the general. Well, we didn't talk about beard so much, but no, the general topic of the show was pussy. You see, they were all talking about, it was, I'm gonna do a review on it. It was terrible. These women just bragging about the power that they pussy have over their man, and the men were there bragging about the power that the pussy they get has over them. You had
Really?
niggas holding up Louis Vuitton bags saying, "You see, this is what with my wife's box get her." They were just proud of the fact that they pussy whipped.
Wow.
Oh, the audacity, Bernard. Oh, the
Was
audacity.
it bad, or is it partially, you taking an interpretation of it, or was it really like exactly like what you're saying? Like they were, like it was like proudly pussy whipped. Was that like the thing?
They did, of course, they didn't say I'm proudly pussy whipped, but they all were speaking up to the power of the box. All held the almighty box. And then in bragging to, the power of the almighty box, yes, they did hold up the Louis Vuitton bags that they gave their wives. And the women there, were saying, oh yeah, my husband didn't want to buy me a new car, but guess what? Yeah, that's right. They were talking like that, Bernard, the whole damn time. And they did, and then they were talking about Helena Troy and Samson of Samson and what's his name? Samson. The Bible. Samson and Delilah. I think that's who that bitch name is. Like they talking about it like it's a good thing. And it was just going on all night. And it started because about a week ago, Trill said, a woman asked Trill, she said, what advice would you give to women in order to find them husbands? And then he said, leverage the box. You can't give up 99% of your worth and blah, 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 blah. So that's what started it. He was telling young Black women to leverage their box. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. All women have boxes. So when asking a question like that, the question should be like, what do you offer more and better that other women don't? And Chantel brings up the point that, that other groups of women are learning how to cook, clean, like at 5 years old and crap like that. And y'all talking about leverage box, like other groups of women don't have boxes.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, first off, shout out to Mr. C for a $20 cash app that I almost missed because I sometimes got to quit forgetting to check my phone. He sent that. Well, yeah, he sent that at 12:13. That was a minute ago. So shout out to Mr. C. Thank you for the $20 cash app. I do appreciate that. Do appreciate those cash apps that YouTube don't take all the money from. I do appreciate the cash apps. But either way it goes, support the stream however you wish to support the stream. But do appreciate it. But let me ask you this. Was he talking about leveraging it in the sense that not giving it away to everybody so you don't increase the mileage in the overall value of the vehicle, so to speak? Was he talking about it from that perspective? Or was he talking about use it as a constant barter and trade mechanism to get a man to do what you want?
I think a little bit of both, but in the backtrack, he was speaking about it in the former sense. It doesn't matter. That type of leverage still isn't good enough. See, And this is why I asked him the question directly. I asked him, what do you do when there are two boxes available to you? Now, his response to that um, was take the one that is best leveraged. Take the one that is being leveraged the most is the one that's more valuable. To where I had to point out I disagree, because if Chloe Bailey was giving me the box and Lizzo was leveraging the box, I'd take Chloe Bailey. So no, see, that's the type of foolishness that this box thinking, you got to think outside the box. That is the type of foolishness that this thinking gets. And Bernard, it starts with the beard. Like this is where, damn it.
What?
I'm saying that we're being mass manipulated. We as black men are being mass manipulated. Y'all walking around looking like Hell's Angels and shit, and up talking the box.
Yeah. Understood. I just I don't like that beards were implicated. I don't think we no beards needed to be harmed, hurt, killed, or shaved in the making of this video. But shout out to Rod of God podcast in the building, says support black male media. Absolutely. Do appreciate the $10 super chat. It is something going on. No, it is something going on, because like I said, there's so many men speaking on these topics that we tend to cover, that regarding men or the social dynamics between black men and black women. And yes, we know that the simps, the Derrick Jacksons of the world, and all the gremlins that came out of his back, it's a lot of them sprinkled all over. And then there's all the way the furthest extreme in the manosphere, or just, I won't even say furthest extreme, and then it's the manosphere. Then it is a lot in between the manosphere and the Derrick Jackson. It's a lot of people who are, and I guess that's why they say purple pill, people who they'll talk about a lot of these things, and it'll be some manosphere isms, some red pill isms and schisms mixed in there with some stuff that may sound a little simpish and pandering to the previous system, the old guard, so to speak. So I think that's an issue. I didn't see it, but it sounds like that's kind of what was going on. Would you say that that's probably, because I mean, I've listened to some of the stuff that those guys have said, and they've been on point. Like you said his name is, I gotta listen to more people more, because you keep calling them Trill. I just know the name is Crew Season, and I know the main character on there who runs the channel. I know
the one with
the
biggest beard. The one with the biggest beard is the leader.
Oh, that's how it works. That's like the what was the leader of the Gremlins?
The one with the stripe. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I forgot his name though. But yeah, so that's how the beard work.
Exactly.
You're the leader over there. Whoever got the biggest beard, that's the leader. Wow. But yeah, so no, I've seen them in clips, in shorts and stuff, and there'd be a lot of stuff that's on point. But
no. Well, okay, but no. So this really isn't about Trill, because Trill was stating that he meant something else when he said that. So granted, but it's the fallout. Courtney Michelle was there, like, box, 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 box. I got a box, 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 box. And then you know how she be having a bunch of push-up niggas in the chat room. So, she was they were in there championing the box. I was like, oh wow, these are really some, boxcar niggas. Like, it was just full of people worshiping the box. It was worse than FedEx. Bernard, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, is this what we're reduced to? Is this what we're reduced to?
Apparently so. But all right, I did want you to come up and give your take on that. I was planning on shutting it down right at the 2-hour mark, and we at the 2 hour and 8 minute and 49 second mark. Shout out to Rod of God coming back through here talking about beard supremacy. I think Rod of God is another one of those ones. I don't know if he could grow a beard. I'm trying to think. Okay, I need to quit bearding people. I need to get out of that.
Salute to Edward Anderson for being a non-beard face person.
You just hating on the beards, hating on the beards.
You know, I didn't until recently. I was like, but I made the correlation. I was like, it's been a lot of beards lately.
Oh, speaking of that, it's what's funny is a chick who made like a mock of like a men's podcast, and look what she did when she made the mock of it.
Welcome back. Another episode of the Hoes Not Human podcast. Today we got a special guest that is a female. We found a female to come on the show.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome. Sorry you ain't got
Wow.
She went with the beard. It's all about the beard.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's all about the beard. That's funny though. That was a funny clip. It said the Hoes Not Human podcast. But anyway, I'm being. Hold on. I can't think I missed something. I think let me see. Shout out to Captain Cisco. Says I wonder what. Okay, I have no clue. I have no clue with that one. I remember I read down. Shout out to Roddy God. Shout out to Jackie Jack. Says what did she say? Sounds like he wants a challenge. Who wants a challenge?
She's talking about Trill, and you see, that's how stupid they think we are. They think that we want what we can't. Of course, I want a challenge, but I want a prize with it. Just because a woman challenged me to get her box, that doesn't make it worth more. And that's something I still disagree with them on it. Scarcity does not necessarily equal value. To me.
But do you think do you gravitate towards the challenge? Because it was some discussion about whether or not men who deal with difficult women, are they doing that because they want a challenge? Like, do you like a woman to be more difficult with you and you like the challenge that comes with it versus the woman that's easy and pretty much compliant? Is that boring? Do you want that chick that do you want that challenge, that mountain to try to climb, that she's more complicated and difficult? Do you want that?
It's a challenge to beauty and value ratio, Bernard. So
Okay.
If I have to challenge for a better woman, then yes, but she must be a better woman. The challenge doesn't make a woman better. The betterness makes a woman better.
No. She was referring to that woman being more difficult. Like I said, yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like that's an apples to apples comparison. You got a 6 here, you got a 6 there. One of them is difficult in making it a challenge to get to get her in whatever way you're trying to get her, and the other one is pretty easygoing and compliant.
Yeah, no, definitely the easygoing and compliant one. You see,
right,
because it leaves you room for other challenges in life. I repeat, it leaves you room for other challenges in life.
That was the conversation that people who are void of those challenges, they be trying to figure out. It's like the innate part of us that want to challenge is like some men they want that challenge in a woman. That the world is supposed to be our challenge. What we're trying to accomplish, our goals is supposed to be our challenge. And the woman is supposed to be relaxed and easy and laid back and chill. But Ed, damn it. Okay, I keep trying to escape. Ed wanted in on this. I let Ed rock on this one real quick. Go ahead and put the link in there.
I'm tired of talking to beard niggas. So yeah.
Put the link in there for Ed RM. Appreciate it. But Christian Hutchinson in the building says Jason Whitlock has been slow walking into the space for 18 months. Should we throw him a welcome party? Yeah, I mean, he kind of already. I mean, no, he's going on Angry Man later on tonight at like 7:00. If I understand.
Dude, he still got a beard.
Oh, Angry Man is he's by what you said. He's the leader.
Okay.
Yeah, his beard is his beard is pretty massive. Well, can't that work? Okay. Rod of God podcast. I don't want a challenge for me, but she better have been a challenge to all the ninjas before me. Absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that. Okay, well, we got All right, we got Ed in the building. Thank y'all for those super chats. I do appreciate that. Do appreciate it. Go ahead, Ed. You got
What's up, Game Changer? What's up, chat? What's up,
What's up?
Bernard? Appreciate you having me up to run my shit. Hopefully, I'm trying to get back into doing uploads, man. I'm trying. I'm getting lazy about it, but I'm trying.
It's hard.
It ain't no excuse. I've been telling my people I'm gonna do it for a minute, so I'm finally, I actually got that video on the Whitlock and Sierra thing. I need to upload. I haven't cut it yet, but so it's interesting how I can add this on to that. One thing about Jason Whitlock, just to keep on the topic for a hot second to comment on that, is even though Jason Whitlock is controversial, there are things certain folks will not talk about. Even the controversial folks, like they don't talk about the small hats. There's certain things that they won't talk about. So even though they may be more, they'll go to the edge a lot more than other people will. Whether it's Howard Stern, Jason Whitlock, people that do that, even though they're not the same, it's not on everything, right? So when I say that to say this, with Jason Whitlock, the fact that he's willing to broach these topics and bring these topics to more of the mainstream, because remember, I've always said you've got the underground, then you've got kind of like the more mainstream social media, which is kind of like for mediocre, poor man in them. And then I call it the underground JV, the mainstream varsity. Then you have like more mainstream media, which is where Jason Whitlock is. And if anything, what that stuff shows, that shows a lot of our argument. This idea that our argument is not viable in the mainstream, that's not correct. It's a matter of us getting the plurality of an audience to think the way we think, which is really just the truth. And then they'll have to be this halfway. Because you got the new media and then the old media. They have to meet us halfway. But one of the tactics that they'll use is they'll say the stuff that we're saying is just off the chains. It's just sex trafficking, all this crazy stuff to try to scare people away from that. So the fact that Jason Whitlock would even touch that topic should tell y'all that sex trafficking bullshit ain't working. It ain't working. Because if that really had real teeth to it, he wouldn't come that close to it. Because you know how sex trafficking be looked at. It'll be looked at anti-women. You support that. So keep that in mind with him. I still gotta see what he said. So see what he said, because I'm gonna do it. Somebody told me to do a video on that. But as far as what you were just talking about with Trill is a Krill, whatever his name is. I've seen a couple of videos of him. He's a soft shoe. That is a dude that simps on the low. He likes to dabble in the dark side of simpery, the blue force, if you will. But he don't want to dive too deep because he wanna try to maintain the aura of being fair and balanced. But the reality is, going back to what you all was just saying, that bullshit on a challenge. I was just talking about that, and shout out to SWP for sharing one of my videos. I was just talking about this. Black men want to get chose. We have black men have cultural problems and software code that needs to be cleaned the fuck up too. And one of them is that this challenge bullshit, black men have been socialized to want combative women. And notice how they say that. They're not talking just a challenge in acquiring a woman. They're talking about a challenge in a relationship. So what I would ask him is, so you telling me a relationship is supposed to be a tug of war? Is that what you're saying? So at what point is a chick supposed to convert from being a challenge to actually being your helpmate, to actually being your support? And I'm talking about emotional support. At what point is she supposed to be that? This shit like that is why when black women, you ever see these posts when black women will tell other black women, go ahead, be a bitch. Men love a woman that's a bitch. Like you don't even see books written about. That's where they get it from. Because you have black men, it ain't just black men that are ugly. You got black men that get women that they are actually socialized to want a problematic woman because that's the community that we've been in. I ask you this. Other than wealthy white men or white men that are famous, other than Giga Chads, what man of any group, any ethnic group, any race do you hear say, I want to challenge in a woman?
They say it on TV, Ed, but they don't say it in real life. Like,
no,
you don't see like John F. Kennedy, like how did George Washington wife challenge him? Like, explain that to me. Do we even know her name?
Well,
No,
even in
because she stayed in the background telling the
modern
slaves
era
how to
when
make
women could
pies.
afford
We
property.
don't know the name of Abraham Lincoln's wife either, or Thomas Jefferson. Why? Because they stayed in a support measure. You know, that's what they were doing. They were in the background sewing
Is his
American
name
flags
Trill
and
or
shit.
Trill? It's Trill, right?
Yeah, Trill with a T.
And be fair to Trill. Let's say, for the sake of argument, because the red pill is 360 degrees, let's say for the sake of argument, he used the wrong words. Rather than saying you want a challenge, he was really meaning you don't want an easy woman. Well, these will be the same niggas that tell you not to worry about body count. These are the same niggas that tell you.
Wait, you're giving me news, Ed. You said he said that? He said that we want a challenge?
No. I'm saying, let's say my bad. He meant that men don't want an easy woman, right? They don't want a loose woman. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that the reason he said that was because if a woman is a challenge.
Well, right quick, Ed, because what he was saying that I was covering was that women should leverage their box, meaning use sexual manipulation in order to get a man, whether it's through omission or whether it's through,
Okay, so no, game changer. So I haven't listened to him like that. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. Now I know you're not a liar, but I haven't heard it. So assuming game changer hasn't lied before when he's checking motherfuckers. So going with what you're saying, even though I haven't heard, I'm gonna go with what you're saying. That's a fucking traitor right there. That's actually beyond some Derek Jackson shit. Actually, that's like right there, and maybe a hairline over some shit I've heard Derek Jackson say. Because here's the thing. This is number one, what I would tell Trill, based on what you just said, that's actually harmful for women. You're harming number one.
Exactly, that's what I was saying.
You're turning women into diesels, number one. And number two, when men identify that, they will treat them like meat and whores, the men that they want. And men will identify with that. So my question is, how can you say on the one hand, a woman is supposed to be a challenge, but on the other, what's that bitch's name that always is talking about? See, the sprinkle bitch. Always talking about
something Michelle.
No, I ain't Michelle, but she says the same crap she be saying. So my thing is, and so my question is, if you hear that, if this guy says this and there's other men on the panel, I gotta question y'all manhood for even allowing that to even go. That is not no gray area. So, but going back to what I said, let's say for the sake of argument, because they always act like we an echo chamber. Let's say that, but the benefit of the doubt, he's saying that a woman shouldn't be easy. Because that goes into that manipulation you talking about. That still can fit in that box. Because I've heard other women say that too. Y'all know who I'm talking. Y'all know the sprinkle chick in the chat. So put her in the chat. Y'all know who she is. But let's say, Shira7. Let's say he was saying a woman shouldn't at least present herself as being easy, because that goes in that leverage, and that's what he meant. Here's the thing, though. Now, like I said before, these will be the same guys talk about you insecure. Which is female language, sign language, by the way. You're insecure because you now are evaluating her body count. You're looking at and by the way, I always say, never ask a woman what her body, you could ask a woman what her body count is, but just know it's more in what her response is than necessarily what the answer she gives you, because you're not going to get the truth that way. You have to look at her habits or her behaviors. Very few loose women or women that really are hoes like that got enough game, especially in the black community, got enough game to really hide that shit. If they're really sexually out there, they usually see that as a form of empowerment, because this is how goofy these chicks is. By the way, there's a dude out here, the game changer, you may want to look up. I forget his name, but he wrote a book called Spartan Dating. And this dude has been around since the early 2.0 days, but he was more on Twitter. He sells his book. This sounds just like what Trill was talking about. But at the end of the day, going back to the topic, the men are socialized to want, black men are socialized to want challenges, because black men see the greater the challenge, the more the validation. This is why black men in black male culture,
you hit it, Ed.
Yes, and so this is why African American culture have such a problem with black men traveling, because they see that as you cheating. This is why they have such a big issue with dudes tricking, because African American men got a bigger problem with black men tricking more than any other ethnic group and any other race. But let's just get off the tricking and talk passports. The reality is they see that as cheating. And by the way, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get past you the rock. This is where this shit gets retarded, game changer. They not only see the harder the challenge, the more the validation just don't hit right if it ain't an African American woman. So black men literally have a trigger in them that is like, well, if I'm dating this other race of woman, they don't count, or other black men won't validate that from a black man unless you're SYSBM. What they'll do is say, well, in their minds or in some language, they'll say it ain't a black woman, so you really ain't that nigga like that. Now, you got game show coaches that somehow are able to get away with this, but this is why game coaches don't talk specifically about black women. They keep it all general with all women because they know they'll hit that trigger and that tripwire if they keep saying why they didn't date black women. So my point is, black men literally on their own, I'm talking about grown-ass niggas, on their own, outside of a woman, are still seeking the validation of a specifically the black woman. And you see this in all of this interference running that all of these niggas be doing. That is baked in the black male side of the culture. I'll pass you, Rob.
Nah. I mean, you are spitting fire with that when you're talking about how they feel it's a challenge. I mean, they're looking at it like it's a point in video games and something like that. And a fat black woman is worth 10 points.
Easy mode,
a slim white woman is worth 4 points. And tricking is -3. You know, like they are. Listen, it's not about points or anything like that. And it damn sure isn't about putting up with an unruly bitch for the rest of your life to think that you accomplished something. It's not. You know, it's about maintaining a smooth face, and it's about getting a quality cooperative woman. That's what it is, you know, or women.
And if he's a challenge at first, I might be able to give you a little bit of crumbs with that. But the reality is that's not what black men are talking about. Black men are talking about challenging relationships. A relationship is not supposed to be this shit ain't supposed to be the X Games, motherfucker. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, and here, these dudes will ask. I've heard him talk enough to know when he say that crap, he says that with a straight face. And of course, he's got a lot of subscribers. I want to see the breakdown between men and women on these dudes' channels. Because I'm telling you, it's probably some shit. The lead attorney got like 65% women, and he don't even be simping at all. So I know this nigga got damn near 80% women. He probably got token black men that listen to him, but at the end of the day,
I think lead attorney said he got his shit is majority man. Like,
no, he said this stuff is aimed at men, but he said recently that he got like a 60% women ratio because that's just how much women fool with him like that. And he said, you know, and that's why he don't like he don't, and that's just organically how it happened. So no, he said that like 2 weeks ago.
I think the takeaway from the lead attorney thing, and Bernard, I know you want to grow more and stuff, is to shave your beard. I think that's the take. If you want more female viewers, then you shave your beard.
I don't know, Bernard. I'm gonna say this to give you some really good advice because Game Changer will walk you down the cliff if you let him with that. Get one of them AI things or get somebody to make you an AI thing of what you look like without a beard. Because some motherfuckers be looking goofy without that shit. And then you show your face all the time. So then you're going to be mad at Game Changer, you know, low key, because you're going to be like, I listen to this motherfucker. He got me out here.
I would never shave it off. The most I would do is what I did before. And that's just cut like this off. I would have a goatee. I've had a goatee before. That's the most I do. I'll go back to the goatee. But just as far as everything, no, hell no. I will always have some hair on my face. That's just crazy. Just go no hair on the face. I don't know how people do that.
Where'd Edward go? Because I wanted to play the thing and get his reaction to it.
Oh, well, he is gone and he's not in the back.
Jackie say don't listen to Game Changer. Okay, you see? That's her using the box to keep a beard on your face. Just saying.
All right, so the last thing I'm gonna say real quick, and then I'm gonna head out just so you can. I know you.
I want to play the clip for you, Edward.
But hold on, this is okay. So I hear the clip, but 1 second. Is
Okay, go for it.
Last night I literally, sometimes I'll do an after hour show where it's like I call it like a blackout show where I'll be running my mouth at night. And literally I said this about black men value getting chose more than they value power. Now I said this on Charles Faulkner. Shout out to Charles Faulkner. A lot of, man of a lot of different trades. And it was a 7-hour stream with a whole bunch of folks on there. Gigi was on there. BGS was on there. Keep It 100's on there. He's growing real strong with the shorts. That's really taking off for him. He went from like 2,000 to 8,000 in like literally 2 weeks. So he's going real strong. And it was a conversation. Amiri Brown was on there in the beginning, but I wasn't on there for that. So you already know what that was. So anyway, I was talking to Keep It 100, and we were talking about kind of, let's just call it the EDL and street cat argument. Let's just call it that. Yeah. And I basically said black men care more about being chose than they care about power. Black men care about chasing being chose and power. And that was the validation. This is not new stuff that I've said. I just don't always be able to articulate it. And sometimes I get off the highway sometimes, or a lot of times. But anyway, the point is, that niggas were making comments about that. Oh, you just bad because you don't get chose. Being chose. And then I made a video about it, explaining it. And then dudes literally in my comment section talking about how men should want to get chose. You can't have babies without getting chose. This. And I'm like, you're literally proving my point. And you're right. When you hit the hammer on a knee, that little thing to say, does it hurt here? And that leg just kicks the fuck up. That's how black men are. So when you talk about them getting chose, dudes feel some type of way, no matter what age. So I'm telling you, that shit triggers black men really heavily because, and last thing I'm gonna say, BGS, there's a book by the name of Dark Ghetto. This book was written in the 1940s by a black man. This is where a lot of the stuff from the Moynihan Report comes from. This same scholar that wrote this, right? This is where one of the people that consulted Moynihan on the Moynihan Report on explaining why like the scissors and stuff happened. This nigga said in the 40s, talking about black men in the 20s, that black men, because of how the Negro has been oppressed, looks for their manhood based on the women that they get. This is a book that was published in the 1940s. We are damn near 80 years later. This is not new. This is before black exploitation. This is before the crack era. This is before the 1960 sexual revolution. This is before all of the modern shit. This has been baked for a minute. And so part of being red pill is being internal about your shit. The red pill is 360 degrees. And I'm not sitting here saying that women are off the hook, letting women off the hook for this. But as men, too many men chase a black woman's validation and you give them power. That's why I bring it up. That's why I supported Mode 1 so much. Because Mode 1 made a woman give an up and down vote. And that takes the power away from them if you don't care about their choice. What you should care about is not being manipulated, not being taken on a date where the bitch don't want you up front. Don't be mad at the chick that told you, no, I don't want to go on a date with you. Be mad at the bitch that will say yes and then take a doggy bag to the nigga she really fucking. But that requires you as a man to be able to accept the answer that shit. And move the fuck on, which a lot of you niggas can't, because a lot of you niggas want to be validated. A lot of you niggas, that scene in the Avengers Infinity War when Tony Stark basically knighted Peter Parker saying you're an Avenger, and then fucking Peter Parker looked off and like dee, 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 dee. That's how it is when a bitch chooses you niggas. Anyway.
Now, what about Ant-Man when Captain America came?
Yeah, and yeah, that's exactly what it was. He was all giggly, but no, it's more like the Peter Parker shit. Niggas want to be chose. And you got niggas that literally will go through there. They're not chasing women. They're chasing validation. The pussy is just a tangible way to how they keep score. This is how you got niggas justifying fucking ogre bitches, fat bitches, and monsters. Because then they'll sit and lie and say, I'm fucking. It don't count. If the bitch is a 5 or below, it don't count. Fuck that. You go put a paper bag over. Fuck that. It all looks the same at night. Fuck that bullshit. That niggas will do that, but let you go travel and you get some good looking shit. Oh no, nigga, that's cheating. You know, what about America with all these beautiful women? I've literally heard niggas say that America is the fucking creme de la creme, all-star of all-stars for competing in the dating market. That's a lie. That's not true. You may have cities that are like that, but that's not true overall. And you will literally hear niggas that are pro-black and turn them into Captain Americas promoting America just by having this topic. You want to get a nigga to go from saying God damn America to God bless America? Talk about you traveling.
No, it is true what you were saying about the validation. I mean, that is spot on. And actually, the thing that you said about, oh, this city is full of women, and they never notice because Trill said this to Austin maybe like 4 days ago when Austin called into their show. He was like, "How can you travel? You live in Texas, and Texas got all of them." It's like,
I heard that, and Texas has a good reputation.
And then the other women were like, North Carolina, South Carolina. I was like, God damn,
North Carolina, yeah, they just naming
full of, like,
shit.
quality women bursting at the seams and stuff. But no, it's validation. Like, they're saying you have the opportunity to get validated by it. They don't really mention the quality of the women, because we're not supposed to hold that. All women hold the power to validate. They all have like an equal stamp or an equal gold star that they could put on your penis. Yep. Therefore, you should constantly seek that always.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna tell you, Trill know to have the right ones. Because I'm gonna give you the cheat code how you get Trill real quick. And this is something you can do within the rules of this shit. Anybody that goes on Trill, focus the argument on interracial dating. Every time he brings up traveling, oh, since you mentioned Texas, you're right. There's a whole bunch of Latinas in Texas. Houston is known for having all the races, Hispanic, Asian, black and white are pretty much 25%. That's what Houston's known for. So really, you can date anybody. So you're telling me you support interracial dating as long as it's in the United States? Is it really the land you have a problem with? And then he'll start tripping over his words, or he'll try to deflect, because then the women on there are not going to like that, because they don't care about the traveler. They don't want them dating out regardless. And so that's how you get that nigga. As far as South Carolina, yes. If you like ass and you like dark-skinned women, you'll like South Carolina. The problem is them chicks can't get out of being 22 years old and not being single mothers, because it ain't nothing to do but fuck down there. Also, you got Jason Pope, who basically did his rampage down there. So you got to test all them broads, because he out here fucking 600, and them 600 are probably fucking black men, because they don't have access to. So you got that going on. Then, as far as North Carolina,
more validated than all the black men who are trying to get validated.
Yeah, so I mean, my thing is, when dudes talk that crap and they just start naming off states, you're not even naming off states that are known for. Notice they didn't even name off California, New York. They didn't name off Florida. They named off North Carolina and South Carolina. And by the way, that Hispanic chick that was on that show at that time, yeah, bring it to interracial dating, because that's when you'll start to split them. Because it's like I keep telling y'all. Traveling is the new interracial dating. You let them fools tell it, because the security boss was on there, because I did a play-by-play on that 6-minute clip. You let them tell it, interracial dating don't exist. The only way you interracially dating is if you got a passport. Let them tell it, because you literally had a Latin chick on there. Why would they do that? Because the passport conversation allows them to get a broader audience. Now you can bring a Hispanic chick on here and the black women are going to look crazy, because we're talking about passports. We're not talking about interracial dating. That Hispanic chick literally kept on asking Austin, was he married or was he looking to get married? Even if you're not looking to get married, only 1 in 4 black women are going to be married. Most black women don't want to be married out their own mouth. What are you talking about?
You know the revelation that you just hit me with when you mentioned DJ Kid, DJ Pope, whatever you want to call him? You want to know the revelation that you hit me with, Ed, the ton of bricks? While we are chasing black women's validation, they are chasing white men's validation.
Yeah, that's called the myth of white women.
601. They are, instead of having the women chase our validation, we're chasing theirs. And white men have all the women chasing his validation. It's sad. It's sad. He was born valid, just like he was born white. And yeah, it's sad. Fellas, do not chase don't go chasing water holes. You know, like don't go chasing these. Determine if they are valid, and that's the underlying thing. That is the underlying thing that really. And thanks for putting into words for me, Ed. That was the thing that was getting to me about my interaction with Trill, was that, you know, they're automatically valid. He wasn't really focused on quality, because he said, well, they got the box. That here, listen to the words that came out of his mouth about the almighty box. This is how important validation is to him. Listen.
We can't hear this if you're playing something.
Oh, you can't? Damn it. All right. I'm gonna put the link in, and the timestamp is hour and 8 minutes. There you go, Bernard.
Yeah, I'm still here.
It's an hour and 8 minutes.
All right, let's see. Clicked on the link. I think it's already sitting at it. I think it's already at the spot. Let's see. Hold on. Hold up. Let me stop the previous screen share. Start this screen share. Click share screen. Right there. Blow it
Hold
up.
Yeah, so
I think we already
but
here.
like these niggas, they know who not to fuck with. And that shout out to Bernard for growing, and shout out to Bernard for you having the panel, because as you grow bigger, that gives you access to other folks. And then that makes it harder and harder and harder. And it's not just you. Like, shout out to Angry Man's growing. They not gonna be able to hide behind this stuff. And look, I'm not here to mess up nobody's money. But I'm going to, the truth is going, as Shaq used to say before he started simping, let the truth be told. And the truth is going to be told. This truth is like a fucking hypersonic missile. It's going to find your black ass. If you don't want to tell the truth, don't be in the business. And the reality is, a lot of shit that Trill says is destructive to women. Because my thing, and another argument I would love to have with him is, my nigga, so let's establish this. And I've told Austin this in the groups. And I think Austin needs to admit, and as this starting to get more traction, because I don't think Austin knows, because he's not paying attention like that, because he don't care. But I think as that gets some more traction, he'll start saying it. Like, I think, but I don't know. Black women travel more than black men. Mm-hmm. Black women have more passports than black men. These are facts. These are uncontestable facts. And here's where it's not a fact, but I know it's true. Black women sex tour a lot more than black men. And so when you see these things like what Trill is talking about, they never want to have that conversation. And now you're starting with Jason Whitlock, all that, you're starting to see that pop off a lot more. And now you notice how these niggas, for the most part, they haven't answered that yet. They want to see how big that's going to grow, because nobody has an answer for that, because we got receipts. It's not that we just saying it. Like I said, you got that Bianca C. Williams book. That book was published in 2018. That is not that old. I'll let you play this.
All right. What you said is that what mark? The 8 minute and what mark?
No, hour and 8 minute. 1 hour and 8 minute.
Yeah, no, hour and 8, just right at the beginning of the 8 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's seconds. Let's not quibble. It's you know, but
well, I mean, I'm at the 8:30 mark. I didn't want to start too soon.
No, just 8:00 is fine.
Okay, so I'll back up a few clicks. I mean, I'm at the 1 hour 8 minute 30, but I think we backed up some. All right, let's go. And hold on. The sound was down. All right, now we up. What in the total fuck is going on?
Just support, and thank you so much for your support. And we will see and talk to you real soon. Thank you, Bella. All right, so let's see. I don't think there were any more. Let's get back into this. We're going to talk about the power of the box. I've noticed myself, we're not going to lie about it, that women are not listening to men, especially in these spaces. They asked us to just listen, and we don't, or we won't. They say, can you cut your nails down a little bit? And we say, no, we won't. It's like, wear your natural hair, and we say, no, we won't. Make your dress a little longer, you know. If you just do that, you know, maybe we can get together. No, I won't. But even though we are not as cooperative as we should be, Trill has noted that the power is in the box. So the woman actually has the power to influence the man to do things that he may not normally do. So with that being said, Trill, how would you advise a woman that wants to be married to pursue a man? Not necessarily pursue, but make herself available for men.
She has to understand the concept of leverage. Just like with anything else in business, like if I'm majority owner of this company, then it's I can throw my weight around in terms of getting what it is that I want from a man. But women don't. I don't want to say have the wherewithal, because they do know how powerful that thing between their legs are. But again, I think they give it away so freely to where it loses value and even their mind. But fact is that, you don't have to argue with a man. You don't have to get loud with a man or anything to control him. Women
control him.
Have the most powerful asset in existence. That's just what it is. It's more powerful than money. It's more powerful than anything else. If you look up murders that happen in society, more times than not, especially between men, more times than not, it's a woman related to it.
Mm-hmm.
Men will kill you over a woman faster than they'll kill you over stealing money from
my bad.
But then people will say, oh, money is the most. No, it's not.
Look on Chantel's face.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was one of the first things.
This nigga don't know. This nigga basically answered the question. He didn't answer the question. He deflected it into a simp monologue. That's what he just did. If y'all want to know what he basically did a basketball play. He did a pick and fucking roll. He picked and rolled into a simp monologue. That's what that shit was right there. And I'm not even trying to play this nigga, but that's what he just did. Talk about women are the most powerful and this, that, and the third. And again, to a black man, of course they are, because black men value validation more than anything. And the only person that can truly validate your manhood, because you have had other avenues taken away from you. We're talking about black men as a group, or you've been conditioned to not look at other avenues, is women. This is, by the way, why a lot of groups, when they try to get you to sign a contract, they put women in front of your face because they know that's how to get you to do that. But anyway.
Facts.
But as far as what he's talking about with the first part he said with leverage, I want y'all to understand, this is something else I've been talking about, the power dynamic. And Jason Black act like he the channel of the power dynamics, but he be bullshitting sometimes. The power dynamic is important. At the end of the day, if a woman is dealing with a man of value, this is why you self-improve. And this is why you put yourself in position to be a man of value. And he mentioned it, talk about throwing your weight around. A woman really has no leverage on that. Or let's say this, modern women don't have leverage over that. Why? Because all their power is predicated on the box. It's predicated on you can't get the box, so therefore the box has value. The validation that comes with the box has value. If you're a man that can quote unquote get the box, then the box becomes Dasani water. You can just go get it. It doesn't matter. You have more options. So the men they want, the advice that he's saying only works for niggas that can't get chicks. It doesn't work on dudes that can actually get women. Because dudes can get women, have no problem letting a problematic chick go. If you're used to having sex with sixes, sevens, and the occasional 8, you're not going to sit here and let the 8 dictate to you the terms of the relationship. Because you know you can get another one. Again, why I promote mode 1 as much as I do. Because that is internal. And so you got these women out here thinking that the dudes that they want, as they define it, you just need to play the 90-day game like Steve Harvey said. That's not going to work. Because them dudes are just going to move on to the next one. What did Ludacris used to say? If you ain't cutting, then you got to get out of my car. If we ain't fucking tonight, then you can leave. Dudes of value and dudes that can get chicks. Hell, dudes that can even get non-attractive chicks, but get chicks and not gonna play that game. Last thing I'm gonna say. This is why they don't like passport pros, and this is why they don't like SYSBM. His advice has no value to a black woman, to a black man that's willing to date outside his race. Because black men are only 6% of the population. Black men are less than black women. If you add in black men that are employed, then you add in black men that make at least $50,000 a year, which is only 25% of black men. Then you add in the men they want that makes like 80, 90. Then you add in the niggas that are 6 foot. That shit does not work. A nigga that's broke, that's 6 foot alone, that shit doesn't work. A nigga that makes, 60, 70,000 and he's willing to date outside his race, that shit doesn't work. So what you're doing is telling this chick to pretend. And here's another thing. Women don't know how to be disciplined. what they're gonna do is when they hear what he's saying, they're gonna say, the niggas that I want to fuck the niggas I want to keep, run him through a bullshit ass courting process. But the courting process has no value. And by the way, men can do that. Men can sit here and be fucking other bitches and still be courting a woman, because men can compartmentalize that. This is why men can still value a wife and still cheat. Hashtag black men don't cheat. But women cannot do that because women get emotionally involved. This idea that a woman cannot get emotionally involved when a man she's having sex with is a lie. And a bitch that actually can pull that off is not a woman you want to make a wife, because that's a bitch that's dead inside. That's a bitch that's likely to get postpartum depression and some shit. Fuck your kids up. Women that can actually have sex without emotion, that's not a woman at that point. So either way, so again, the shit he's saying is goofy as fuck. He's one of these niggas that he's a pre-qualified nigga. He's just like a chick that can say dumb shit and a nigga just goes along with it because they want to fuck. He gets away with that shit because he's tall, he's got the dreads, he fits a bill of what a lot of chicks like. So they gonna let him get away with that dumb shit. I'm done.
I want to say in his defense that that the way the question was worded, because it was really like two questions in there. It was kind of weird that she was mentioning the power of the box, and then she talked about defiant women, and then she talked about and then she asked the question, or she posed the question, what advice would you give to women who want to get married? But with the backdrop of we're talking about the power of the box. So I think that and he said this later, that caused some confusion in what happened here. And that's why the response was what it was. It seemed like she was going for more of an explanation of what he meant by the power of the box, but she asked the question indirectly. So that's somewhat to his defense.
Mm-hmm. Was that it on the clip, or was it more?
It's a little bit more, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, you just pay like 30 seconds.
All right.
What's between women's legs is the most powerful asset, but the fact is women don't wield it accordingly because of selfish reasoning. So because you're willing to give me the most powerful part of you, the most powerful asset in the world with little to no effort, how can you expect me to be willing to give any? What type of incentive do I have? I'm getting 99% of the benefits from you without even being in a relationship. It doesn't matter what you're worth.
Oh crap! A bigger beard.
I gave an example earlier on the podcast. If I walk into a Mercedes-Benz dealership and they got a Benz on the showroom floor, brand new, I checked the mileage. It has 2 miles on it, and the price tag in the window is $200. Or as a man, are you going to pay the $200 that the price tag says, or are you going to pay the $80,000 that is actually worth?
Okay,
I'm going to pay the $200 that's on the window. But women will put the $200 tag on the window and get mad.
All right. That's more or less going to wrap this bad boy on up. I done about had it. I was supposed to shut it down at the 2-hour mark. Y'all done dragged me to 3. Shout out to everybody in the building. Do appreciate, as we said, bearded logic down there. There's no bearded logic. But anyway, shout out to everybody in the building. Do appreciate each and every one of you coming on through. Appreciate each and everybody coming on through. Anybody who likes, share, subscribe, contribute to the show in any way, shape, or form. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Mr. C on that Cash App. Shout out to special thanks and shout out to Ryan Decipher, who dropped a $100 super chat earlier in the show. Do appreciate you coming through, Ryan Decipher, dropping that heavy-handed super chat on me. Do appreciate everybody in the building. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.